item for all Salon people and then party them. Sierra Leone Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour and the Gladi program, Look Me, I Look You. All this they start soon na www.sierragemedia.org. Now who's tem these?
Hill Valley Academy is a school that provides the very best opportunities for our students to develop, grow, and mature into young adults who are encouraged to become patriots as well as global citizens. We have high expectations and ambitions for all our students. We provide a caring, supportive, tolerant, and challenging environment in which all individuals can grow and flourish. A graduate of Hill Valley Academy is a well-rounded human being capable of making the most of what life has to offer. We actively encourage academic excellence with a sense of responsibility. We look forward to welcoming you to our school and to meeting you in the not too distant future, because together we achieve the extraordinary.
When I was a kid growing up in Sierra Leone, my neighbor had a small TV. The television was beaming these images about famine, war, about diseases.
There was a silent majority suffering.
I am fed up with that kind of news. We can use culture and art to change mind and hearts and inspire action.
National pride.
This is big, man. This has great magnitude. Sometimes I feel afraid. I feel terrified when I think of the project.
Tito! What are they, Tito?
We are nowhere near waiting one for day.
I want this. I want it. I want it.
I want this thing for succeed, Koji.
This place stay and die.
Is this a curse or what?
Oh, yes,
People like you that make Sierra Leone the way it is.
You cannot give me blow. But you are this way, you cannot give me blow.
Oh, man, just did lie, blame.
These are the things that have wrecked this country.
We need to move this nation forward. We're going to need to pledge a better future.
Akikola be second to last project. He died at the last. Guest assured my brother.
Hello, my name is Josephine Kamara. I'm the founder of You Can Do It Foundation. You Can Do It Foundation is a charitable organization based in Sierra Leone, West Africa. You Can Do It Foundation has been in existence for the past 2 years. We have been fighting gender-based violence against women and girls within the community. During the past 2 years, we have been offering psychosocial support, counseling, court fee, medical fee, including school items to the survivors of gender-based violence. However, during the lockdown of COVID-19, report received and confirmed that rape cases among a minor has increased tremendously within our community. Because of this, You Can Do It Foundation has secured the land to build an accommodation for the survivors of rape. However, this may almost become impossible without your generous support. We need your help to build this home for the survivors. Your help could be in cash or in kind. If you wish to join us to make a difference in a child's life, please go to our website, which is www.youcandoitcyf.org, or you can go to our GoFundMe page, which is Home of Hope for the survivors of gender-based. Or you can contact us with the details at the end of this video. We thank you greatly for your generous support, and thank you once more for making a difference in a child's life.
Love, joy, on another one. You know me cocoa butter, oh. Nobody not will change up. You don't reckon me out, I'm not able to refuse them. I love you, now only that's good, they real love. Now you know me go let me diamond. Now only you I go give everything, no. Me equal to zero without you. Now me don't be you hero. Life is sweet, oh, when you there with the right person, yeah. No more messy around you, oh. Me to you, eh. Not to 2 is to 1. Now wrong equation be that, you, eh. I don't feel fever. Me heart's on the pull fire. Doctor say but bona for take a easy with love you. Me love it on the catch a fire, baby. Me love it on the catch a fire. 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 Come and solve them. Me love it on the catch a fire.
Yes, doc. No, not with tablets. Yeah. Touch me here.
Me love it on the catch a fire. 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 Come and solve them. Me love it on the catch a fire. You know me cocoa butter, oh. Nobody no will change them. You don't reckon me out, I'm not able to refuse them. I love you, now only that's good, they real love. Now you know me go let me diamond. Now only you I go give everything, no. Me equal to zero without you. Now me don't be you hero. Nowadays, oh, true love no easy forget you. So when you get never will love it to one. He say make I take a serum, I no want. He say make I take tablets, I no want. He say make I put you, I no want. When I love you, I want you. Hey, doctor, come here. Me love it on the catch a fire, baby. Me love it on the catch a fire. 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 Come and solve them. Me love it on the catch a fire. You know me cocoa butter, oh. Nobody never change them. You don't reconcile me out. I'm not able to refuse them. I love you now. Only that's good, they real love. Now you know me gold and me diamond. Now only you I go give everything, no. Me equal to zero without you. Now me don't be you hero. Hey doctor, hey. Me love you, baby, oh. Hey,
Yes, Doc.
me love you, baby.
Yeah, just touch me here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling it. Oh, Doc. Yeah.
It's original.
Yeah, Doc. Oh, no, stop. Not like this.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Sierra Leone Media Live on YouTube and Facebook, and welcome to another edition of How to Go Inside the Republic. Today is the 28th. Today is the 28th of December 2022. We are just fast approaching the end of the year, and we now enter into 2023 in the next couple of days. But like I say earlier on, from all the programs they were going to do from last week, from the Christmas program show, I believe say Christmas is gone and everybody gets a wonderful Christmas. For those who did not have a wonderful Christmas, I know say on a new year, go better past the Christmas. We can always say, if Christmas not good, make New Year good. Because there's only one thing we need to get. It's either a good Christmas or a good new year, or a good 2023. It's just a couple of days to 2023, and I want to welcome now to how they go inside the Republic. And today we will talk about a few things them within our community in Sierra Leone and what things they happen inside the Republic. But before I go there, let's just make Femi say hi to her because Mr. Jumova is on his way to an unknown destination. I will not say any more than that. But definitely, we'll not get Mr. Jumova today on the program because he is on the way to an unknown destination. But when he gets there, he will let us know. So Femi, welcome to the show and say hello to viewers them and what thing that you take for the Christmas.
Hi T-Boy, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sure.
All right. So I hope say viewers and the see me and then they hear me okay.
I believe so.
Well, if they're not there, they're going to tell me just now. So literally, I want to say thank you, T-Boy. I want to begin for the thank you because always at the thank all the viewers them. But today I want to thank you because you know you've done a splendid job over the last I go say 52 weeks. You know, you they hold the fort with Juma no day, you the co-host with Juma. Today I don't stress you out, so just want to say thank you. I want to remind people but you know, T-Boy is you know, he's a good guy. He gets in Ambogi no more, he can bug me something in the day, but really and truly, he does so much for us. All of our graphics are done by this guy. And not just we on graphics anymore, but the community then graphics them, majority of them come through T-Boy, and he has a lot of work on his hands, and something that we can feel for appreciate Sandy. So now it do so for me T-Boy it big. Let's go to our family and our friends. Sierra Media, we love you guys. We thank you guys for always being here with us. Again, for the last 52 weeks of this year, Una don't try, Una don't do with we nearly every week, and we thank you for that because without Una, we're not good to so. If we're not been get an audience, Tibo and Juma, they're not good to talk bokum. So because Una did, now Una they encourage them for talk bokum. So Paolo, I thank Una, I give a little nice if you complain because really and truly Una the cause me sleepless nights where Juma and T-Boy can give me. Anyway, over to you, T-Boy. Today it look like you get a lot of work on your hands to make an can steal the spotlight.
No, it's not about stealing the spotlight. So if I forget the opportunity for getting on the spotlight, it will be brilliant. But anyway, I'm not gonna forget you in the spotlight for long tonight. Just like we're not gonna forget Juma on the spotlight at all for tonight's show. But anyway, with Juma, yes, the show is always nice, controversial, argumentative, of banter, back and forth, agree to disagree. And a show without Juma is more or less the same. Agreeing with myself, disagreeing with myself, possibly looking at some of the information on the chat line, agreeing and disagreeing to some of those information. And then I make up my own opinion on certain things that we're going to talk about. But let's start the program. We have few topics on the program for tonight's show. One of which now the fact we have the president's Christmas message, and then we get well, I'm not going to say much about them, but just highlights. I'm not going to say, yes, the Auditor's General's report is out, but then bring and come on the 11th hour before Christmas so that we're not going to pay attention to them. And definitely, we're not paying much attention to it for now until after the festive season. I haven't been able to even look at a page of the Auditor General's report because I want to take me time for it and make a comparison with the past couple of Auditor General's report that we don't come over the years. But like I say, it was left very late so that people will not pay attention to it. And then they want to make it galvanize on setting our own pace within the Christmas period. So the Auditor General's report will just come in and come out and go. Nobody says much about it. But definitely, we'll come back to that after the holiday don't pass away. But I just want to make a couple of few highlights on what is happening over the past couple of hours and the past couple of days within our community. We've lost a very strong media guru, known by Philip Neville. Philip Neville, one of the great journalists, who don't get in a salon, we don't serve the country for more than 30 or 40 years within his practice. He also owns Media One Center, which comprises of Star TV and Star Radio. Now also the editor for Standard Times newspaper, and that is one of the most longest-serving newspapers in Sierra Leone, really online, and at the same time then it gets hard copy. Apparently he had an accident, I don't know when exactly, with Okada, and he passed away, I think today, at Churchfarm Hospital in Freetown. So we extend condolences to the family, and we extend condolences to the media family in Sierra Leone, and make them take heart, because definitely this is not the wrong time for me to lose a loved one. And by losing a loved one this particular time of the year, it means your new year is going to start not in a good foot, but in a one foot that you don't expect to be having. But una take courage and una keep peace. Now God the give, now God the take. So we extend the condolences once more to the family. And if una been listening to a broadcast last week, where we do the interview for Abdul Karim Carlos, one of the stations that we will broadcast now Freetown was Star Radio. We're now one of the stations that we use, owned by this great media guru, Rainer Philip Neville. But we will possibly find time sometime next year and maybe do a program on we could cover the length of voting it don't do as contribution towards the media in Sierra Leone. So definitely, I just want for me to highlight that and keep them in memory, and make not just let go person of that kind of nature within our own industry passed away without making a public recognition. So I just want to highlight that, and had to go over to some of the other things that we have to say we need to talk about for today's program. The second one now, one Wallo mentioned, say, the Auditor General's report is out already, and there has been a lot of information coming out of the report, a lot of embezzle, overspending, trillions of leones of overspending compared to the last Auditor General's report. We didn't get so much controversy, and this one is possibly more extreme than the controversy with the last Auditor General's report we been published by Lara Taylor Pierce. And as we don't see, the auditor in charge now is a temp. He's just temping for now. But if he take all this amount of time for making publish the Auditor General's report for 2021, because we still get the ongoing one, we not be done complete yet. In 2020. So, 2020 or 2021, because the 2022 we'll not even get a clue of what's in that for Bill XF yet. So we don't know exactly what are some of the issues then where this particular Auditor General's report will come up with. But like I said earlier on, I haven't been able to look at it, another watch them, and not even open a page of the document yet, because I want to take me time and focus before I actually begin go through the report itself. I might not be able to read the whole report, but I think after looking at the titles, the headlines on the content page, I'll be able to keep my focus and emphasis on certain areas. But if the content is not as voluminous as we always used to see it, then definitely I'll take my time to go through it page by page. That's not the Auditor General's report where I just want to highlight a little bit about them and make people understand, say, we not forget about them yet. Therefore, bring and come back on the platform and discuss them to the fullest, meaning every topic, every item, everything will need to be highlighted on that particular report will be talked about when we can do the Auditor General's report on its own as a program. So now look forward to that for next year. And also some of the program that we'll get for discuss next year, and the one-to-one with the aspiring politicians, they want to get involved in politics. Already the list don't even grow. I don't get few calls from few potential MPs, potential candidates them for the various different political parties, especially the APC party. I don't get phone calls, or I don't get discussions with certain people and we want to aspire for become members of parliament for their various different constituencies in Sierra Leone. and also people that get interest in being executive members of their various different political parties. Yes, APC now then gets the upcoming low-level elections, but I think say other political parties themselves they also conduct elections for certain key positions then in their political parties. So we'll go for the highlight some of them one in the back as well and make sure they will bring them come on the platform for local discuss some of the reason why they are interested to be executive members of their political parties, what in them will bring can different from what in already done in existence. So that's the other thing we need to talk about come next year, 2023. So 2023, you forget a lot of different things that we'll get for sharing our platform and discussing our platform. And we'll also look at bringing in possibly new presenters, new hosts into a few different programs that we're free to say will be meaningful to own our viewers. Then we don't watch you all the time. We want for at least engage for a couple of days in the week, not just the Wednesdays or any other subsequent days that we do during the week, but also want to as much as possible forget maybe various different presenters then for can do different things then from what we don't always do. I know say a couple of years ago, we've been get the culture show, we've been hosted by Yusuf Jallo, and we get the health show, we still continue to be hosted by Aisata Sise Jallo. I want to extend my gratitude to those two people, especially for Aisata. She's been on the platform for a couple of years now, and I feel that the health show has been one of the most renowned shows in the Sierra Leone media platform. We're not just to talk about health, but also to talk about livelihood. They talk about things that we take for granted. But the primary focus of the health show partnership program on our platform is mainly focused on cancer. And I feel say cancer has been one of the biggest killer diseases in Sierra Leone over the past couple of years. Even though that's something we will not be very much comfortable for discuss to friends, family members, and people that we know. But I think the health should make them a bit more relaxed for people and forget the confidence for discuss issues related to cancer to their loved ones, family members, friends, and people that they feel say ought to know some of the issues that we go through in life. So I want to say thank you to Aisata Sise Jallo for all the meaningful contributions of the health show we don't bring onto the Sierra Leone media platform. And also to Yusuf Jallo for the culture show. The culture show gets a own diverse way of bringing in different kind of cultural artifacts and things that we talk about within the Sierra Leone culture. We yet still ask the question, what culture do we have as Sierra Leoneans? And do we practice our culture as much as we should? Or do we have a culture at all? That's a question still not being answered properly yet, even though there are answers for it. But we'll still look at the final defined explanation of what in the salon culture and what in the salon culture stand for and how much of them will they practice. Because if we don't know exactly those three questions, the answers to them, then I will say categorically, we don't have a culture, we don't practice that culture, and we don't know what that culture stands for. So I want to say thank you to Yusuf Jallo also for bringing in the cultural show on the Sierra Leone media platform. I think that program went for almost a year or less than a year, I think. To put these programs together was not an easy thing. I don't think it's something that is that easy to do. And you have to be looking at bringing in guests for different shows. You have to look at the concept. You have to look at the content of the concept. And you also have to look at the people that you bring in on board to get them to be able to come and discuss about issues, things, cultural issues. We will not foresee will be meaningful to Sierra Leoneans, then both in the diaspora and anyone also within a salon. So we see how much more content that we get for Brinkham for now for 2023. The health show is going to be ongoing, and possibly the culture show is going to be ongoing, and we might find another diverse way of getting it on board on a regular basis. Since Yusuf Jallo is an all-rounder, he's always not in the country, he's in and out at every given point in time. You might not know exactly where he is, but at the same time, we can get hold of him if we do want to, and we'll try and see how best we can even forget and for do the culture show in the various different locations there, where it will work for day at any given point in time come 2023. That is just a brief roundup of some of the issues that we are one for discuss and some of the thanks they were for give and appreciation to all the contributors them to Sierra Leone media platform online. both on YouTube and Facebook. And also, the other thing we I want for you to talk about as well is some of the things that they happen inside the Republic. When I say things that happen inside the Republic, as in how they go inside the Republic. The Republic of Sierra Leone. The Republic of Sierra Leone has been faced with so many challenges over the years. And we have seen a lot of differences in how the Republic of Sierra Leone has changed geographically, economically, socially, culturally, financially, and all other aspects of changes that we don't happen within the past couple of years in Sierra Leone. But let's take year by year. I think 2022 is what we're going to focus on for this particular show tonight and see exactly what are some of the changes that has happened from the beginning of 2022 to now coming to the end of 2022. So like a quick review of what has happened. I think as a country, we have been faced with many challenges over the years, for decades. And those challenges are not yet seem to be going away. We face them every other year, sometimes every other month, sometimes every other week, sometimes every other day, and sometimes even every hour of our life, we are faced with those challenges as Sierra Leoneans, not just in Sierra Leone, but also as Sierra Leoneans outside Sierra Leone. So during the past couple of months, I would say 11 months now, coming to 12 months, as we almost wrapping up December, I think a lot has happened. A lot of changes have occurred geographically. A lot of changes have occurred economically. A lot of changes have occurred culturally. And I think some of those changes has been beneficial, some haven't been. And we've seen a lot of impacts, really changes in they don't make towards the livelihood of Sierra Leoneans in Sierra Leone and also out of Sierra Leone. Let's take a few examples. We had Ebola, that's gone, and we had COVID. COVID was an international, a worldwide issue, a world pandemic. But I think Sierra Leone suffered a little bit of it, not as much as we might be expecting. But at the same time, after COVID was eventually declared possibly over, but not 110% finished, I think Sierra Leone has been lifted way before we had an international proclamation to say COVID is possibly over. So we haven't been suffering a lot of the repercussion of COVID as a nation. I think what has benefited us mostly is the amount of support that we actually gain all over the world, because developing countries have been given a lot of funding and resources just to combat COVID, because the expectation of WHO was estimating that if COVID break in African countries, it will be a natural disaster. And they were doing everything possible for make that not happen. So they gave us enough funding, enough equipment, enough preparation, because they made it free to see if an outbreak like that happened in Africa, which means the infrastructure, the medical infrastructure, the economical infrastructure, the political infrastructure, the geographical infrastructure of the continent itself is not as adequate as you might expect compared to the Western world. And if the Western world is suffering the worst of COVID attacks and losing lots of lives, thousands and thousands of people died within the shortest period of time, that have the best modern state-of-the-art equipment, but cannot handle the rate at which people were dying because of the COVID pandemic. What would you expect to happen in Africa if that became an outbreak? So it was something that they were not really looking forward to. But unfortunately, it was a total reverse. And for countries like Sierra Leone, where I'm from, I think we suffered possibly the least casualties in COVID. Yes, we lost the lives of notable Sierra Leoneans, notable household doctors and household practitioners and household professionals. But I think due to the diverse symptoms of COVID sufferers, I think most of the people we lost during COVID was based on their age, was based on their health situation, was also based on their geographical, or I would say economic state at some point, because some of them contracted the disease not just by accident, but just by getting in touch with family members who were traveling from this part of the world going to Sierra Leone, and some of them were not in a good state medically. So that's why most of them did not survive their COVID attack. And when you look at the statistics of people that died of COVID all over the world, I think it's generally focused around people of that age. But it was also surprising that few cases of COVID deaths were related to younger people who were like age 12, which I think was one of the youngest at some point. A case that took place in Brixton, I think, or South London somewhere, of a child who died of COVID. I think it was a child of an African descent. Somalia, I'm not 110%, but I think so. But anyway, it's just to give you a lot of insight of what has happened. And within them period and day when we get COVID in Sierra Leone, one of the biggest problems we've been get in 2022, we drag along. I think say we for don't get enough kind of support network for me could not turn we back and say, well, yes, COVID had a lot of impact in our economic disaster that we have. We cannot turn around and say, yes, COVID had a lot of impact in our cultural disaster. We cannot turn around and say, yes, COVID had a lot of impact, negative impact, not positive, negative impact on the demoralization of our currency. We cannot turn around and say, yes, COVID had a lot of negative impact on the cost of living in Sierra Leone. We should not turn around and say, yes, COVID had a lot of impact on so many of the things that we think might have gone wrong within Sierra Leone in 2022. Because after COVID, we had so many other political unrest in terms of disasters in various different political regions where there were killings taking place by the security apparatus in Sierra Leone. We had incidents in Tombo, had incidents in Makeni, had few incidents in Kono, was not that much. We had some amount of scuffle in Kenema, again, that was not much. And we had few more other political unrest in primarily Freetown and some part of the north of Sierra Leone. And those political unrest became very much of a serious occurrence to the political stability in Sierra Leone. So I would say 2022, mid-2022 was a concerning period within the year 2022, because that was when we start to have all this sort of political confrontation from the current government and the opposition. That was when we started to have a lot of political unrest with opposition politicians. We saw the incidents in parliament when parliamentarians were beaten and thrown out of the well. We've seen an incident where parliamentarians were in sitting and we have the security apparatus to get into the well and cause their own mayhem. So we saw a few things that happened in 2022 in terms of the political unrest in Sierra Leone. And then further down 2022, we saw another disastrous event that took place, which was the August 10 and August 8 protest march, which brought about the deaths of some police officers and Sierra Leonean civilians who were deemed to be terrorists. So those are some of the concerns in the kind of political unrest that we had in Sierra Leone during 2022. And the August 10 incident became very much widely covered by international media houses, which kind of exposes the current government in terms of how they were looking at the political situation in Sierra Leone, and I think they intensely interviewed rigorously political figures in Sierra Leone, members of parliament, and politicians in governance, and few politicians in opposition. And also we saw a status which international medias like CNN, Al Jazeera, and the BBC took a special interest in Sierra Leone due to the cause of the August protests. And I think that brought out a lot of security unrest in Sierra Leone, and it gives Sierra Leone the platform to be a state that is deemed to be paid more attention to in terms of the security risk that I think the international community's unrest, the international communities find out to realize, say, Salone is a state that is not stable, even though the government is saying that Sierra Leone is safe, but the reality, maybe in the happen at the ground, is not the same as you might be thinking when you don't live in Sierra Leone. So we all saw pictures flying all over the world, pictures of people that were not even part of the incident itself were highlighted as part of the perpetrators of the August 10 protest. And they were called rioters. They were called all sorts of names, terrorists. They were called people who want to unseat a ruling government, a ruling democratically elected government. So everything has been said around this particular incident. And that incident actually, I would say, was the highlight of 2022. There were a few more other incidents that were so much of a concern. I think we had the incident of the fire accident in Wellington by the tanker, the fuel tanker that exploded in Wellington. Again, that was another disastrous incident that happened. We also saw fire incidents of communities that were burnt down to zero. I think it was the Bay or Susan Bay community. I think there was also another community around Soldier Street that was also burnt down. I'm not too sure whether that incident happened early 2022. But there's been a lot of natural disasters that have taken place in Sierra Leone, I think, in 2022 that we are talking about specifically. But like I said, the highlights of 2022 within the Sierra Leone history is the August 8 and August 10 incidents. Within that period, I think Sierra Leone rewrites its own history by the activities of what happened in August. Coming down to September, October, November, there's been few more other incidents that were not of more concern, apart from the incident that took place in Parliament, again for the second or third time, wherein parliamentarians decided to stage their own protest in Parliament by stopping a bill to go through because of the implementation of the process at which the bill was supposed to be passed. And we saw the clerk of parliament ordering security officers to actually kick out honorable members of parliament. Well, I will not call them honorable anymore because they've been dishonored, but again, they will still carry their title. But we saw those incidents happen in parliament, and we saw some amount of parliamentarians that were arrested from two political parties. But the major political party parliamentarian that were arrested was from the APC political party, and they were taken to CID for further investigation. So there was a lot that has happened within the past couple of months coming to the end of 2022. And we're now fast approaching. There's also another period in time when we had currency denomination, as in reducing the zeros and making it smaller. And the reason for that from the bank governor is because he wanted the currency to be small in number, not huge volume of currency that we might be carrying. So he reduces the 3 zeros, I think, from the current currency that we have, which only comprises of maybe 2 zeros. So instead of 1,000, I think it's 10 leons. Instead of 100,000, I think it's 100 leons or 1,000. I'm not too sure. We're still confused about the pronunciation of the right currency and how you might tend to use it. But there was a lot of speculation about the reason why we should demonetize our currency. And when it gets to the economists that were putting their analysis together, I wasn't one, but I think I made my own judgments when I eventually went to an event that the bank governor hosted in London. And I actually streamed that event live. It's still on our Facebook page and YouTube page. Yeah, I think it's on our Facebook page. And if you have a time to go back and watch that event, you will see exactly some of the reasons why there were huge concern of the demonetization of our currency. And those concerns were highlighted on that day. Questions were asked. And the specific questions I asked myself to the bank governor was, people like us in the diaspora, how will we therefore take this currency? Like, if we look at the exchange rate of what we did send na salon, it will affect we at all, or it not go affect we? By then, I think the exchange rate was about 6,000. 6,000, I think, yeah. It was about 6,000 by then. And this was early 2022, sometime around February, March, because I think I just came back from the Nations Cup. I think it was around March, April, before the independence anyway, because we were saying this currency is going to be out before independence or after. I'm not too sure about the specific months now anyway. But I think by that time, the currency was, the exchange rate for the pounds to leons was about 6,000. And can you imagine from that period of time to now, the exchange rate for a pound to leons is about 19,000 leons plus, possibly even 20,000 leons if I'm not really being honest with myself. I think it's about 19 some hundred. I would say just 20,000 to a pound compared to what it was like a couple of months ago before the new note was distributed all over the country. Again, there were a few other concerns maybe around the new note. Some of these concerns then being like, okay, we're going to have a new currency and we're going to distribute the new currency and everybody should return the old currency. And there's been so many other rumors around why they are going to introduce a new currency, the new notes. It is going to be different. There is a lot of counterfeit old news, and the APC politicians, they don't see the old news, they don't keep them, so there is no money in circulation. So there are a lot of rumors around the new notes and how it's going to change the economic situation in Sierra Leone. But we all know for sure that countries that have made that sort of move in the past, either they have a moving economy or stable one, and they'll be able to deal with the changes of the currency notes or the demonetization or denomination of their currency. So basically, we did not have our homework done properly. We just jump on things and do it without even looking at the possibility of the problems that we'll be envisaging in the future. But we don't look at those stuff at all. We have a nation where they think they will just do things because they think, oh yeah, we can do that, let's do it. And then on the way going now, then we'll begin find the problem, we'll solve them on the way. I think that is for a one-man show, where one man gets a business for one. Now again, if we do anything, it's okay, fine, everything. And they can't sky this. If you work, fine. If no work, no problem, they move on. And what we have realized within this particular sector, which is the banking sector in Sierra Leone, I think the bank governor no do evaluation properly. In self-serving, he said it himself. Like I said, there is recordings of the events that I attended in London within our Facebook page. This bank governor himself said, only he released the money without even make any form of discussion with other members involved. So he do all things where he do on his own without consultation. And then he consult after. But I think personally, if we don't get this in the back of his mind, we even the lecturer in America as a university lecturer, he was teaching economics. I would not say he's a poor economist. I don't know much about his potential in terms of his teaching skills. But I think when you are bent on something that you want to achieve in your life, if you have the opportunity, you will just do it. And you just want to set the record straight to say, I said it and I did it. The only reason why I think we have that currency denomination is because the bank governor has always got this at the back of his mind to say, if they make me bank governor ever in Salon, and they reduce the currency value in the currency notes, and then introduce a new currency or a new note, we will get same equal value like the old one, but failing to realize it will only work or only be sustainable if you have either a stable or a growing economy. Then yes, you might be able to pull that off. But all the countries that we don't try them, we not get a stable economy, or where the economy not to grow at all. Now, just the fact that they want to do this because they think when they reduce the currency value in figures and in numbers, it will help the economy to grow and become stable. And it end up for be disaster. And we don't see them country, then they get them kind of disaster. And even though we make examples of them country, they are still doing the discussion we've been getting in London, it's still able to give you a clear answer into why it feels say necessary right now for demonetarize we currency. That's not just few of the things that will happen within 2022. There are plenty. I'm not able for sit down and talk about them all, but I think today's show is like a review of 2022. It's sad that I am the only one doing this review right now, but I think it would be nice for make we able to get a short insight of some of the things that we say we don't go through as a nation, and how say we can able to curb some of the challenges that we'll face in 2022, so that we not face with the same problem then we'll go into 2023. If we look at all the issues them surrounding everything I don't talk about, so in my early presentation of 2022, errors has been made, a lot of error in the way we make as a nation. We might have done some good things, but I'm not able to identify some of them good things because when it comes to other areas in Sierra Leone, for example, sports or entertainment, I will say, sorry, I don't think I'll be able to give us any form of credit. Maybe few credits, yes, I would say few. Few for sports, yes, I would say in football, we showed up at the African Nations Cup, which is good. And I think it was pleasant for us to be represented within the continent. And I think the country try. But one thing we are still facing we do as a nation, we are very good at participating, and we don't have any mindset of winning. We only have the mindset to participate. We just want to become normal part of the team. Say, yeah, we show up, we compete, we go to the tournament. Oh yeah, but come off first rounds. Oh yeah, but not see with Sky, no team not beat with. Oh yeah, but Sky because yeah, we win one game, but we didn't. As far as we're concerned, we had a very good tournament, which is true at some point. And defensively, yes, we had a very good tournament, and progressively, no, we don't, because we couldn't progress to the next stage. And I think I will not put some of the responsibilities on the players, although they might have joint responsibility. But I think the whole responsibility of that particular tournament should be based upon the structures that was taken to Cameroon. I think we had the wrong structure. We had the wrong set of people that were supposed to be manning the game. And we have people who just showed up to just have fun and don't take it like it's a tournament. And the setup was not all that good. The preparation, a lot of money was spent in terms of the preparation. We spent millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars. And to be very honest with you, the only thing I was very much impressed with at that particular tournament is the supporters' fan base. And the supporters' base for that tournament was 110%. If they pay for them people only for Commonwealth Salon, for travel all the way to Cameroon, I think that was the most successful part of the tournament. Because when I say successful, now the fact say this particular set of people, even though they did not have all their comforts that they might expect to have on the day or during the tournament, I think they did extremely well in terms of giving their support to the national team. They did it in such a way that the people of Cameroon came on board and helped them in terms of boosting their support. Because every single supporter will then fly from Salon, go Cameroon. They don't waste the money on them at all. And I say this because I was there myself. I saw everything that happens. And when I say support, the moment the team is getting ready to play a match, the night before, the supporters' fan base are ready. They are in full-blown preparation. And when they get to the pitch, from start to finish, they will not stop hitting those drums and celebrating. So we saw a huge amount of Sierra Leonean supporters. And that's now one of the good things about the tournament for Sierra Leone, because we had a massive fan base within the whole tournament itself. And I feel say that's to me now the success of the tournament. But when it comes to the field of play, I think every player that wore that vest and go inside the pitch and play, I feel say give the 110%. I have no doubt about that. The only concern we are going to raise now the fact say, yes, they did give their 110%, but at the same time, the infrastructure around them wasn't solid enough. The preparation of the infrastructure, as in the administrative infrastructure, was not prepared properly for them to be able to go to the next stage. Because I guarantee you, if that was a structured and well-prepared administrative team to run the affairs of the team, I think then for them mentally, physically, emotionally prepare the team for the last game. I will guarantee you that, because based on few selections on the pitch itself, we did not show any form of enthusiasm of winning that game, because we were looking at Equatorial Guinea like, oh yeah, now Equatorial Guinea, they beat them. And failing to realize Equatorial Guinea had had a tough match with the other two countries that they played. So basically, they were one of the favorites to qualify in our group. But we took them for granted. And we not prepared the team mentally, we not prepared the team physically, we not prepared the team emotionally. And when I saw the team selection, no disrespect to the coach, but I think you will not use certain players to start a match like that for the very first time when the tournament starts with a crucial match like that. I think we don't think twice. But like I said, it's all down to the structure. If the structure wasn't right, then definitely you will not get certain things right. So I feel so we don't look at the structure properly and see how best we can able for get the team together and get the best team selection and use the player that we get fire the one that you already don't use, we don't come in second half, we don't change the game. If at all you're going to introduce anything new, it will have been some of the players who have started, some of the players who were not on the first team lineup for the first 2 matches that we have played, but actually made a changer or made a difference when they came on. Now the 2 games they wouldn't play. I think it may for fine for start with that amount of fire there, than you bring in something totally and entirely new, which means the entire structure of the team is going to change. And we did not see any effect of that at all. So then cost we the game we will go play against Equatorial Guinea Nalimbe. But the good thing back again, we come out and the competition are the fact say yes, we had a lot of exposure and some other international African countries then take we very seriously from now on, and they're able for no say, well, okay, Sierra Leone also is an emerging nation in football, and we've always been, because some of them countries they also don't always struggle for between. So they don't have any doubts in our capacity to perform, but I think we surprised them the most this particular time around because we played against the defending champion of the tournament, and then we played against one of the favorites as well. So our group was really like a dead zone, and we not been getting any kind of chances for make we qualify that particular group day. But we had an opportunity that we threw away. But that was sports. And when it comes to another aspect of sport, I would say the Commonwealth again was another one where I feel say, okay, was good per se, but I think it was not good enough, because I think when you look at the Commonwealth representation, I think we should be in the position of actually winning medals in the Commonwealth, because I was there not as a media person, because I was there as a spectator stroke media at some point, but I did not actually showed up at the Commonwealth as a media representation to cover the national team whilst they were there, even though I did that at some point because I realized there was a lack of media presence. And if there was enough media presence, maybe that would have made some amount of changes. And also support network at the Commonwealth was very poor for Sierra Leoneans. I mean, this is just at the backyard of London, Birmingham. I mean, can you imagine how many Sierra Leoneans that lives in Birmingham? And prior to the Commonwealth, I had a series of discussions with stakeholders within our community in London. I reached out to the High Commission, I reached out to many people to see how best we can actually galvanize Sierra Leoneans to be able to go and watch the Commonwealth Games and watch Sierra Leoneans participating within the Commonwealth Games. And it's not that expensive, to be honest to you. I thought it was going to be some exorbitant amount of tickets that you have to pay. And if you buy a ticket for a particular game or discipline, I think that ticket will allow you to watch possibly 1, 2, 3, or 4 different competitions within that discipline. So, but we get culture when they talk about things, we know they discuss things. And I was really amazed to see a huge amount of delegates at the Commonwealth itself. Again, the same thing about in the Dubai football, it's the same thing that they carried on to do when it gets to international performances when the country is representing outside Sierra Leone. A huge amount of dignitaries showing up at the Commonwealth Games for what? I don't know. For what? I don't know. So if we had a physical presence at the Commonwealth, meaning we have Sierra Leoneans supporting Sierra Leonean athletes on the day when they are actually competing, it would have been a different ballgame. It would have been a totally different ballgame. So 2 things that I found wrong within the Commonwealth Games is the fact that the country does not promote the Commonwealth Games to Sierra Leoneans in the UK, even though the Commonwealth Games was hosted in Birmingham. That was a shame, disgrace, lost opportunities because we'll have been able to bring our kids on board, get them to go and watch the Commonwealth Games, facilitate some amount of ticket that should be provided to their family and family members and kids. Because yes, you can have concession. I don't think it is practically impossible to get some of those concessions. And there were even cheaper tickets for children. I mean, the Commonwealth Games is full of kids. It's like a family event. But how many Sierra Leonean families really attended a match, a game, a discipline of Sierra Leoneans within the Commonwealth? None. I will guarantee you, categorically say this to you, I did not see any representation for all the discipline that I watch. To be very honest to you, possibly, I was the only Sierra Leonean supporting a Sierra Leonean athlete doing the Commonwealth, maybe as a Sierra Leonean. And it was a shame. It was a total shame. And I watched a couple of boxing, and I think we lost that particular tournament because I think the athlete for that particular tournament wasn't feeling bright, but she was pushed to go and do it. I rather had a knockout by default, to say, either based on injury or something else, because we had an injury at some point, but I think it was either a disqualification or an injury. I wasn't too sure about that particular one, but I think I was disappointed with that one because I think that was a potential medal position, because it was all the way to the quarterfinals, I think, or the semifinals. And we either would have restored our status in boxing once again, because Ali Cisse did it for a couple of years in the UK, or we would have at least made some amount of representation in boxing. But let's forget about those boxing, because for the athletics, I think we only made 2 hits. We did not go further. One of our hopeful was disqualified or did not attend the games at all. Somebody who was coming from, I think, Europe or so. But when it comes to other disciplines, for example, table tennis. I love table tennis and I follow table tennis a lot. And we have para table tennis. We had this guy from Freetown who has been doing extremely well in table tennis, para table tennis. And it was the first time for me to watch him play. He's called George. And when I saw George a couple of years back, I was very much into him. And I was thinking of how can we help to improve his game and make his game become more comfortable. But can you imagine the most difficult thing to believe is the fact that George, his performing wheelchair is basically the wheelchair he uses every day in Sierra Leone. And if you see the state of that wheelchair, you go honestly put your hand on your head and cry. Because one, now wheelchair will possibly not in Europe anymore. It not exist anymore in Europe. It doesn't really exist at all. Day, you go now any wheelchair store now the world right now, you not go see that wheelchair there. That's how much the wheelchair don't they out of date. To the extent that it's not just outdated, but George been get for patch and back. For make no more able for use them, and you don't get them for the past 10 years. Are you seriously telling me, say Salon not able for afford for buy proper wheelchair for that guy there for compete? Because mobile enough. Mobile enough. So basically, there was not much courage with his equipment that he's using. There is not much courage in terms of physical support at the games itself. And there is not much courage for boost the morale of the team whilst they are in those competitions. I don't know how they do it, but if me, that being athletes, in any way, shape, or form, I for struggle for dealing with the amount of equipment and the amount of resources them way go they available to me. I can think about it and I not can wonder why most of the athletes that we then count, they refuse to go back. I can definitely look at the consequences of them going back into what sort of facilities are they going to get themselves involved in again to be able to represent. So we are very good at representing. We're only good at, we participate. And when we participate, we don't tick the box for satisfy the international community to say, yes, we took part in that competition because you funded it, and you funded it with $50,000. We use the funding to train, to bring in X, Y, Z, 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 and we represent. That's all we do. That's all we do. We get all the money they will get, and then we use them for represent, but not to actually develop the skills of the athletes, them, not actually for encourage them and pay for their training. Can you imagine George only gets about 3 days of professional training before he actually left alone for camp play the tournament competition. I mean, the Commonwealth competition. George only had 3 days. And guess what? He got for travel all the way to Kenema. Because now Kenema no more be the only sign of the country. Can you imagine Kenema? Now the only sign of the country we get a standard table tennis table. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Sometimes you can laugh about international, but it's serious. Can you imagine the whole of Sierra Leone? Now only Kenema. That didn't get only one game table where you go say this now the standard table tennis table for competition level only in Kenema. So that means Georgia for travel all the way to Kenema in coach, and then gets possibly 3 days of intensive training for meetup tournaments where they don't select about 60 elite players where George now one of. They don't go all over the world because he just came back, he just returned back from London on a training course. What he doing in London? And he lost the tournament at the, I think, semi-final. And the person will beat him in the semi-final, and the person will he don't spar with. And lost him in a very bad way. Like a light margin, but I think the support wasn't there. I was the only person there cheering him up, and I can't even scream because I was just like sitting there like a lonely person. So all I had to do is just give him eye contact, give him thumbs up, and boost him to say yes when he made a score or when he gets some points. But that wasn't good enough because you had the whole stadium, the whole tennis ring is full of English people because he was playing against an English boy. So basically, you practically not get a chance for win that match day in any way, shape, or form because you play against a home base and then you get the full home base support and you practically just get me and you coach. You can't survive in that sort of situation. Alex, if you good, you got to play extremely well because the home support where that opponent gets against you, you got to get more zeal for make more vital points. And that's how we lose the Commonwealth Games. And to me, I would say success is not just about winning. Success is about participating to the fullest of your ability with all the potential and all the encouragement and infrastructure of what you get for that particular discipline there. That is what we lack in Sierra Leone. We lack that in Sierra Leone big time. And if we want for change the dynamics of everything we do, come 2023, we'll get for repeat it all anything else back again and see how we evaluate them, see how we get them for go in a proper way. We'll get proper structures. We are very good at naming things. Oh, yes, they represent here. We don't do the best of this particular year. And now let's come to maybe a little bit more on football. Again, we get Salon. We don't boast of the Sierra Leone Premier League. Premier. We all know what Premier means. Top of the range is what we refer to as Premier. Can you imagine we get a Premier League in Sierra Leone, we still not get reach 4 AstroTurf pitches in Sierra Leone? So I'm thinking that I can criticize them a lot, but I think I give them 100% kudos for the amount of work we don't do. When we Look at this guy named Reggae Bow Rangers. I criticize them a lot because I think say for doing the African Nations Cup, it was like not do well because as a team manager, Babadi showed up like one of the team mascots instead of being a team manager, and I was really, really embarrassed. But guess what? Now, for me, my own opinion, now in the most successful chairman of any club in Sierra Leone, any club in Sierra Leone from inception of football in Sierra Leone. Now in the most success. I don't care how he did it. Sometimes you might think, oh, it's political, it's this, it's that, but regardless, whether I get political influence, it gets personal influence, it get any kind of influence. But for the fact that you think of building a stadium in Sierra Leone for a club, I will give him 110%. Whether I thief the money now, whether I embezzle now, whether I scam money now, for the fact that you're able to invest them back into Sierra Leone and in sport, and he build a stadium where I feel say will be possibly a standardized football stadium which fits the FIFA standard, I will give him 110% for that. Because we don't get so many so-called millionaires in Sierra Leone. But guess what? They haven't done nothing like that. The days of football, when football may get so much name as Salon, no, we didn't see that happen. Apart from Chica Steven Silowe and Bill, it was like a duty for government to build stadium. No, football is one of the biggest investments in the world right now. And we talk so serious about sport, we're serious about football, and we know if we put with money how much today, that's a joke. So to be honest, Babadi did very well for making build the Bow Rangers Stadium. And I think so in the opening next year, not officially open yet. But it's not a government's duty to build stadium, not just government, but I think if they run SLF in Salon, I will make sure say every football club forgets either an AstroTurf pitch or a standardized football grounds. I will not say stadium, but a standardized football grounds, meaning that football ground will get a grass pitch, you get a changing room, you get some amount of media representation. That stadium forget a proper standardized changing room. But yesterday, as you see changing room, pan body. Can you imagine pan body? Salon, they deal with pan body as changing room. And now we so-called Salon Premier League, and we still playing at Brown Dotty. We have lots to learn. So 2022, it is done. But let's go into 2023 with some kind of innovation, some kind of way how they think for change certain things in a way we don't do in Salon, and we feel to say it's okay. I mean, when you get somebody, one day wear Nike trainers, I like you get on Gallop trainers, and you will feel happy for wear Dunlop. I'm not disrespecting Dunlop, but if you know one day wear Jordan, they can give you Dunlop. You see the Dunlop like I say, wow, this is good. But if you don't use for wear Jordan, Nike, we was possibly $200, $300, $400. And that's now average price we possibly every American can buy. And then they can give you Adidas, we watch maybe half of 14 Nike what. You go vex. And say, why you can't give me Adidas and Nike I don't use for buy? So basically, we level of accepting things is so low. If you don't use for eat bread and butter and money, then they can give bread and starting with half salad or baked beans inside, you don't feel to say you don't eat heaven. And that's the standard of how we think. That's the standard of how we look at things. So the Salon when we look at now for 2022, 2023 coming, not to that kind of place they again, I begin thinking, say, oh, well, okay, fine, them don't use for giving bread and butter, so now they can begin giving bread and sardine. That's the change? No, that's not a change. Because the world self not a deal with bread and sardine anymore. When are the basic? So why would for the beginning look at bread and sardine things, that's the best. And that's what we can get. No, we can have better. It's not good enough until we start to accept, say, what thing we get as the basic in Sierra Leone is not good enough, then we might have something better. So 2022 is finished. It's not done. And when it comes to all the things that I don't highlight, that the problem they will don't face, we don't see, we don't encounter in 2022. And we see those problems like, okay, they're not problems for us. They are just petty stuff. or we see them saying, like, say, oh, these are successful stories for us as Sierra Leoneans. No, it's not. And we see them saying, like, say, oh, okay, well, look at things the way how we look at them, and just accept them as it is. No, we're tired of accepting things as they are, because it don't make much of a difference to we anymore as a nation. So we could begin to look at things then from a positive aspect, and look at things that they role model we step along. Because when you look at things that are happening in the West, we make comparison. I remember a couple of months ago, me and Femi go now I'm being, and the being then host the repast now some football club. I think it was Brentford. We possibly in the conference league or so. They had stadiums, they have playing fields, training grounds. And we go now these particular football grounds, the hall we use now one off, not so then only one off, then team venues then we then can host smaller events. We're not gonna the clubhouse will be there, but one of the venues in the clubhouse, we're not gonna the club restaurant, we're not gonna the club guest house, we're not gonna the club bar, we're not gonna the club waiting room, just that small area, we'll go. The back of the small area, the stadium at the front, full-blown stadium with stands. You don't need to forget sophisticated stadium for God's sake, but get something decent. But even the schoolboy league they're waiting at this part of the world, they have a better playing grounds than with Sierra Leone Premier League playing grounds. And then we did talk about football, and then we say we're serious about the modern game, and then we want for compete, and then we want for look and say, yes, we home-based players, them better pass the international-based players, them. No disrespect to them, but I think the level at which we are going as a nation, if we begin to visit them so back again and see what are the possibilities of us changing the dynamics of the game by bringing in proper structures, by bringing in proper infrastructures that will help boost the morale of the players themselves. I mean, with the game man of the match, this day and age, now you give certificates for man of the match, certificates, for God's sake. Are you serious? Are you saying the Premier League cannot afford to do a proper trophy for man of the match, now certificate, and they give player and today? Certificate, that is just basically 10,000 leons for a whole national Premier League. Now 10,000 leons worth of certificates. Then they give player as man of the match. That's the level of acceptance of crediting our players. And then we say we do well. No, we joke. Then a serious disrespect to the value. Because even me, I didn't issue certificate to give to nobody. I don't, because it is disrespectful in the first place. Because who say you go hang certificate now in the world? Who say you hang that? Who say you hang that, for God's sake? Certificates. Who say you hang now? So the world they improve, we they just I know Colin we they disimprove, because that are the wrong word. We they regress, going backward. So the backwardness of our nation is not just in one particular area, it's in every area, every department. So we have to rethink Sierra Leone. If we don't rethink Sierra Leone, sorry, they say about government, sometimes you look at it differently. We therefore rethink Sierra Leone for us to be able to compete in any level. Even in Africa, we can't even compete in West Africa. So the World Cup just done. When would they expect Salon for play World Cup? Hello? When? With the kind of states we'll get now. Nah, possibly not in our own generation. Because the facilities then first we get for the in our country for able for entitled for even qualify on a regular basis for the African Nations Cup tournaments. I mean, look at countries that we develop more than we do. Where they 50 miles ahead of we in terms of infrastructural development for sports, and specifically football. They don't even get to qualify for every Nations Cup tournament. I'm not going to say World Cup. So we therefore begin to think and be realistic about our thinking. Otherwise, we're going to dream here. like how the Dream of the Nations Cup to end up for qualify, and look who's at the dream end. No, we can't be dreaming all the time. We have to make our dream becomes reality at some point. Now we go down to the year 2022. And Christmas is coming. Christmas don't carry on pass, you don't go. And we always get different kind of Christmas messages from leaders there, politicians there, family members there, friends, and people in way they around we as people in way we honor. We either go say, okay, this Christmas we'll go spend Christmas to me papa, we'll go spend Christmas to me woman in with the family, with my wife and family. We'll get a family events together, but at the same time, and when the nation celebrates Christmas, we need a Christmas message from we national leader, i.e. the president. And well, apart from the president, there is no more other leader. And I look at we local political parties, message from the leader of all we viewers, then we don't follow we for the past couple of years, and we don't follow we from 2022 right up to Christmas. So like I don't know what we can share we program tuner. That's the same way we share our flyer, our Christmas card, and say thank you and Merry Christmas to you guys. So basically, we expect a Christmas message from the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. And unfortunately, I don't think many people have actually saw the President's in Christmas message. When that's there for me next discussion. The reason why we talk about the President in Christmas message, because we want to know what is the essence of a Christmas message to a nation. A Christmas message to a nation, as far as I'm concerned, because I've gone through a series of different Christmas messages from different politicians all over the world, specifically in America, because now they look at Christmas in a very high esteem, because the Christmas message really come out from Rome, when now the Vatican Day, now from the Pope, and other Christmas messages then can come out from other different countries. But yeah, I will not listen to a lot of those because then they talk different languages, so I don't know exactly what they're talking about. So I'll listen to countries then they talk English, one of which will be America, and I think I listen to a series of different American leaders and Christmas messages. And the thing that surprises me most is the fact that they focus on the message of Christmas. And the message of Christmas is just about wishing everybody Merry Christmas and tell them thank you, tell the people that are waiting at war front who they fed to them thank you, tell the people that are waiting on the front line, they do the frontline jobs, thank you, essential workers, tell them all thank you for all their good work and hard work. And for the fact, say it was COVID a couple of years ago, they're still extending their thanks and appreciation to all those that have been working tremendously hard for make sure, say, they give them services towards people who suffer from COVID. So it was all about saying thanks, saying thank you to people who are making contribution towards Christmas period itself. The festive season is what is very much important to the people of that particular nation and from their leader, who is supposed to be their president. But again, I see the president's message, and what thing captivates me for go and find or find the president in Christmas message. Now, a very 30 seconds or less than a minute clip where I see they make the rounds. So that clip made the rounds more than the president in message. So that clip there actually urged me for go find the president in Christmas message, because I am part of many WhatsApp groups, many online platforms, many media platforms, but I not come across the president in Christmas message, even as a link. Either I not see him, forgive me if I not see him, or nobody posted it on all the platforms that I'm part of. I don't even see them on me social media feed, and Now, only when I go begin trace back this evening, I realize say a day Nami Twitter as the presidency message for Christmas. But the one thing we make the rounds more than anything, now the less than a minute clip we I see myself, we see where the president make a statement about certain thing, and then he make reference to certain thing. So that urge me for make I go watch the presidency message. The second thing where I watched the message, I realized it is over 27 minutes long. And I'm thinking 27 minutes of a Christmas message talking about Christmas. I think that is way too much. But it wasn't about Christmas. The only aspect and element of the presidency message we get any kind of detail about Christmas is less than 3 minutes. I would say it's less than 5 minutes. It's the minimum, possibly the initial start and maybe at the end. That was the only thing that mentioned Christmas and the festive season itself. For 27 minutes of a Christmas message, I will be expecting all that message to be focused around the birth of Christ, what happens during Christmas, people who have made contribution to Christmas, how the country they say thank you to Christmas. I don't know who actually wrote the president's Christmas message anyway, but I think it's totally unnecessary for a Christmas message. I would have rather used that as a political message than I title it a Christmas message from the president, because it is not about selling anything about Christmas, but selling what's the president's agenda and what the president has so-called achieved in his 5 years in governance, which was not necessarily important for a Christmas message at all, because a Christmas message should be specifically driven towards Christmas and the birth of Christ and everything related to the festive season itself. Nothing political and nothing personal, but it should be focused on those specific areas. And when I listened to President Obama in Christmas message in 2015, it was only for 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And it's just straight to the point. Merry Christmas to every Americans, wherever you are, what you're doing, what you have contributed towards the festive season, what you intend to contribute, and what has been your own contribution towards the nation. For those who are serving, Merry Christmas to the servicemen that are not in the country, that are protecting the image of Americans all over the world. That was the message. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And I was thinking, okay, make I forget Obama, something maybe not Obama. Let's go to the one way possibly very controversial. Let's ask you how many minutes in your Christmas message lasts for as well. When President Trump, guess what? Inside your message now just under 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And again, it just entails the same thing I talk about. Christmas, well, he mentioned a little bit about COVID in West because they make some interaction, because I both the president and his wife, now they give Christmas message, I think in America. So they do it together anyway. It's always been like that. So I can understand why, because it's a family event. It meant to be based around family. So I was not surprised when I realized that all those messages have been put together, and the president and their second half, which is their wives, will be part of the message together. They co-read the message. You say half, me say half, you say half, me say half, which is not a bad thing at all. I think I respected the fact that because now family events, they try to make a family kind of message. Again, I mean, expected that Trump will be arrogantly rude and possibly out of touch, and possibly as long as he possibly might want it to be. But it's still structured. Same timeline, 2 minutes, about 30 seconds, same thing, same message, direct to the point, all specifically geared towards Christmas and the festive season itself. And then I said, okay, wait, maybe sometimes this is not the old form of Christmas message. Let us check Joe Biden. In your message back again as well, even less than 2 minutes, 30 seconds. It was 2 minutes and few seconds. And then I'm thinking, okay, make a look at Joe Biden in second message. And one of his second message I look at, the longest of it all was 8 minutes. And I think the 8 minutes all way Joe Biden talked for, all is being geared towards the season, the festive season. And it's kind of highlights few of the issues then where I feel say don't happen, where possibly go affect the lives of people within this Christmas period. But that was the longest. I think it was 8 minutes. And that was the longest. And I said, okay, make our watch we own country king in your message and see how long the message lasts for. So in the meantime, while I'm talking, Femi, can you please get the president's Christmas message ready for us so we'll be able to hear it? Because I think say Boku people still not able to watch the message yet. So I think I'm going to give you guys one more opportunity to be able to watch the Christmas message for the President, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, and hear exactly what in Christmas message they're all about, and see whether that Christmas message is directly related to Christmas, as the occasion itself says it's Christmas and it should be a message for Christmas, or it's got a total different message. We possibly go able to make our own judgment for ourselves. So basically, I say like I go to King Charles in message. This is now first Christmas message after Mama don die. So basically, that one lasted for another 8 minutes. So I really look at the sequence of the timeline of the range at which the messages will extend. And I look at Joe Biden in 8 minutes and King Charles in 8 minutes. And King Charles also highlights not just the Christmas message in the Gi, but the Christmas message with reference to a mama in burial, a mama in funeral, all the procession, and possibly say thank you to most of the people that we have for making mama in funeral becomes what it was, and also extend a lot of thanks and appreciation for the fact say they give mama such honor, and thank you also to the one that we wish him well from where he don't take the seat as a king. So I understand why the king in message will be that long, but it's still being focused on the agenda of Christmas and the festive season. Nothing more, nothing less. So basically, we get a very clear link of how long the message will be consistently by few American presidents under 2.5 minutes. And also when it extends 2.5 minutes, we get a sequence of timeline when under 8 minutes. So I've been wondering, okay, why this for be some amount of coincidence? So I not find that very strange at all. But when I make reference now to William President's message, I don't know whether Mr. Palmer, is the video ready to be aired? Please let me know. So I will give you my thumbs up, but I'm not sure. Please let me know as soon as possible when the video is ready. So basically, Mr. Palmer, if the video is ready, just stop me. Then I will just allow you to play it. So basically, to me, a Christmas message should be direct to the point. When I say direct to the point, it should be straight to the point. It's Christmas, it's festive season, and the message should be geared towards that. But yeah, fine. The video is ready, and I'm going to allow the video to be played. And if you don't listen to the message yet, listen to the message, and we go highlight some few areas then we are of concern, where I feel say we might be able to talk about in regards to what in the message for actually intends. So over to you, Mr. Palmer. We listen to the Christmas message of the president. It's about 27 minutes long, so you can get for beer with we, and then we can come and talk about the message itself and whether Una resonates to the message and whether the message means a lot to you guys as a Christmas message. Over to you, Femi.
Fellow Sierra Leoneans, Christmas is upon us once again. And on behalf of my wife, Fatima, my children and other members of my family, and on behalf of members of government, I send best wishes to you from State House, the seat of our nation's presidency. For me, and indeed, I believe for all Christians, Christmas is one of the most important dates on the Christian calendar. For it celebrates the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who came to give us love, hope, and joy. I want to express my profound gratitude to everyone, young and old, men and women, who have contributed in one way or the other to our collective quest to build a strong and indivisible country. My government and I and our entire families have been touched by the love, cooperation, support you have shown these past 4.5 years. The sacrifices our families have made so that we can focus on serving this beautiful nation and its great people pales compared to the sacrifices every Sierra Leonean makes daily towards building this great nation. We are nothing without you, the people. Everything my government has done and achieved in the past 4.5 years rests on the shoulders of the men and women, young people, who work tirelessly daily to take us closer to our dreams of becoming a prosperous nation. I come to you today not as a leader, but as a son, a brother, an uncle, a father, a family member, as someone whose destiny is undeniably tied to yours. Indeed, Christmas is a time of joy and giving around the world. And while there is much to celebrate, in addition to the amazing gift of life, it is easy to forget where we have come from. I am not ignorant of the prevailing challenges that we are facing as a nation and the challenges many families, businesses, and individuals face during this time of global turbulence. The worst of the global pandemic will be over, but the ripple effects are still with us. The war in Ukraine has also affected the global economy, food prices, fear, and energy costs, and political stability. At a time when wealthy nations are struggling, I must acknowledge your patience, resilience, hard work, determination, and honesty and resolve to build through thick and thin. Our resilience in the face of the challenging and turbulent times has yet again shown our mettle as a people. It is not lost on me that a natural and even valid reaction is to express frustration at your government. I will not pass the buck. When I accepted the mandate to be your leader, I did not accept to be a leader just in times of progress and prosperity. I also accepted to handle the challenges that may stand in the way of building a great nation. As a father, I see your struggles. As a brother, I know your pain. As a friend, I see your frustration. As a leader, I'm alive to my responsibility to you all. I want to reaffirm my commitment towards doing everything in my power and within my constitutional mandate to make life better for every citizen of this country. As a nation, we have chosen democracy over dictatorship, freedom over tyranny. We have chosen hope over despair and peace over war. Never for once lose sight of what we have achieved together. Many nations worldwide struggle with conflicts, the onslaught of terrorism, or widespread civil unrest. That our country enjoys relative stability is not just due to the genius of any leader. It is because you, the people, my dear Sierra Leoneans, have chosen this. You make this possible. As we celebrate Christmas, I know that many families are having challenges and may not be able to celebrate like they would want to. Fuel prices are still high, and this in turn affects food prices. As my government does its best to mitigate the rising cost of living, I urge you to look out for each other, share when you can, and be kind to each other. We are known to be hospitable people. Let us extend the hospitality to our neighbors and strangers, especially now. In my first address in 2018, after you elected me to this position of trust, I asked for God's guidance to lead our country in the path of those three sacred words of our coat of arms: unity, freedom, and justice. I will say that God has been faithful. He has blessed me to lead people who cherish these sacred values and who make the important task of governance possible and rewarding. Permit me to mention just some of the things we have been working tirelessly to do to cushion the effects of the global crisis and inspire hope in our people for a better present and future. We are proud of these achievements. You should be too, because you all made it possible. Since assuming political leadership 4.5 years ago, rather than solely mining natural resources like diamonds that our country is renowned for, my government's new direction agenda focuses on nurturing the potential of our children and then mining their talents to become productive citizens. I'm proud to say that despite the global economic challenges, our investment in education increased from 11% to 22% of our annual budgetary allocation to support primary, secondary, higher, technical, and vocational education and training. My government flagship free quality education program caters to 2 million pupils nationwide. When I came into office in 2018, only 16% of Sierra Leoneans had access to electricity. We have taken that number up to 31%, as well as increased peak load electricity consumption in many parts of the country. And all of this despite the increasing cost of generating electricity occasioned by an increase in fuel cost which my government significantly subsidizes. More parts of the country than ever before now enjoy regular supply of electricity. Lutupa hypo, pauper, Salongo better. In no uncertain terms, we are making progress, ladies and gentlemen. You will remember the sharp contraction of our economy in 2020 at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. In this year, as projected, we grew up by 5% higher than the sub-Saharan African projected growth rate of 3.8% for 2022. We continue supporting post-COVID recovery in key productive sectors, especially mining, agriculture, construction, manufacturing, and tourism. We constructed health facilities across the country and continue to equip them with diagnostic, laboratory, and sufficient beds, among other things. I am proud of our commitment to women's empowerment and our dedication to achieving a fair and equitable society. On November 15, 2022, our Parliament enacted the bill entitled the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act 2022, GIWI Act, which will address the gender imbalance in Sierra Leone. The GIWI Act seeks to secure a minimum of 30% representation of women in elective and appointed positions. Gender equality and women's empowerment mainstreaming in employment and training, and women's access to finance, among other things. I applaud Parliament for their support and thank the GIWI Act Task Force for working tirelessly to bring the landmark GIWI Act to fruition. No bird flies with one wing. We must support women everywhere to thrive. As they do, our society will thrive and prosper. We must expand economic opportunities for women. We must end gender-based violence and all forms of sexual harassment of women. However, as apparent as our achievements are, I acknowledge that the family for whom food prices are beyond reach, those who now pay more for fear, and those who struggle economically, this list of achievements may sound hollow. To those who do not yet feel the impact of our hard work, I say, I see you. I empathize. I encourage you to find solace in the fact that the current discomforts are only birth pangs for a future of irreversible socio-economic progress. For as long as a single Sierra Leonean is experiencing any discomfort, it will be a cause for concern for me. As a government, we have put in place some mitigating measures to help soften the impact. We have removed taxes on essential commodities to keep prices low for fuel, for rice, flour, and many others. We provide cash transfers and roll out social safety net initiatives to improve the quality of lives of vulnerable families and individuals. Many of the solutions we have put in place to tackle problems of which we inherited from the previous government and some of which have arisen during our term in office are yielding immediate effects. Still, some other solutions will take some time to manifest in the lives of citizens. This is why I ask for your patience and trust. so that our vision and path to success will become more evident. As I seek for your patience, I also extend mine. I recognize the legitimate right of citizens to express displeasure through constitutional and legal means. It is your right to keep us on our toes. This is what democracy is, the right to participate in governance. Participating in governance goes beyond mere casting a vote, something many of you will do on Saturday, June 24th, 2023. It includes being alive to one's duties and responsibilities as a citizen. It includes giving feedback. It includes using all legal and legitimate means to hold the government accountable. We must never take for granted the privilege we have to live in a stable democracy. A relatively free society is not something that comes by chance. It is hard won and even harder to maintain. If there is anything we learn from history, humanity has gone through several cycles of tyranny. Even now, we see our continent and beyond how the gains of democracy can be lost to unconstitutional incursions by non-democratic forces. In some countries, there is outright war. We have experienced this in our nation, and I'm sure you will agree with that no one wants to revert to those dark days. Democracy is not a spectator sport. It is a full contact sport, and its survival depends upon civic participation using legal means to engage with ways of improving society. As with every democracy, family, or even relationship, we are not required to have the exact same thought to succeed. Sometimes we will disagree, even bitterly. However, our engagement must be premised on the same fundamental principles of democracy. Without this, stability is threatened, the stability of our democracy and our nation. My government is resolute in the belief that democracy is sacrosanct. We will engage with critique and affirm the constitutional right of citizens to express their thoughts or even displeasure with the government. And we will, with the same firmness, defend democracy against all those who seek to undermine it. To the dear youths of our nation, I say, I cherish you. I do not have a progressive viewpoint that you are leaders of tomorrow. Your time is not in the future. But right now, all across the world, young people are participating in changing the world around them, becoming leaders in business, politics, sports, science, and technology, as well as culture and entertainment. Any leader who takes young people for granted or dismisses their role in nation building in whatever capacity they choose is only undermining the present and destroying the future. I celebrate you all and encourage those who haven't already done so to take a more active interest in education, agriculture, politics, governance, science, and technology. My government will keep supporting all the legitimate dreams and aspirations of young Sierra Leoneans. For those who have found themselves in the dangerous circle of drug abuse and addiction, as we have seen with some of the horrific illicit drugs reaching our streets, especially the deadly Kush and Tramadol, it's never too late to seek help. I pledge to keep supporting the agencies that help those who need assistance. We know that drug abuse, apart from being a social challenge, is also a health issue. And I am committed to ensuring a healthy, vibrant population. My government will continue to intensify our anti-drug education and train and equip staff and community advocates for the fight against substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking in Sierra Leone. Some of you, our JCs, have returned home from abroad, and we enjoy communion with your families here in Sierra Leone. And we thank you all for all that you do wherever you are in the world as great ambassadors of this beautiful nation. We urge you to take advantage of opportunities to participate in nation building. Partner with those of us here at home and invest in our country. Wherever we go, we have just one home. Let us build it together. In turbulent times, as in times of festivities, it is easy to forget those whose faces are improminent, but who contribute in no small measure to the progress and development of our nation. Our doctors, nurses, caregivers, and other medical personnel who work tirelessly for our vulnerable and sick, our senior citizens, upon whose shoulders we stand, our educators, our everyday heroes who help shape the lives of future leaders, the public servants without whom the work of politicians like us would be impossible, our security forces, serving and retired, who keep the peace internally and make sure our borders are secure and lay their lives so that we can all sleep more easily at night. To those whose jobs may be deemed menial, our domestic staff, market traders, bike and keke riders, but whose work we cherish as much as that of our skilled workers and professionals. I see you all. I appreciate your work. Thank you for your contribution to nation building. I also thank our local and foreign investors for keeping faith in us and showing confidence in our economy and people. My government remains committed to keeping Sierra Leone open for business and the destination of choice for sustainable investments. As we spend time with family, friends, and loved ones, I urge all to do so responsibly. Avoid excesses and show consideration to fellow citizens with whom we share public or even private spaces. Spare a moment for those working to keep essential services running during the holidays, from healthcare to security to market trading. On behalf of a grateful nation, I thank you. I want to end on a note of joy. It is easy to lose joy in times of crisis and to lose hope too. In the face of difficult realities, we may succumb to cynicism and hopelessness. Our race is not a 100-meter dash. It is a marathon, and we are in it together. There will always be work to make our nation more prosperous, and I renew my pledge to all of you to keep doing that work. As we hold on to the values that make us resilient, let us not forget to be joyful, to be thankful for the gift of life, to be grateful for family, for loved ones, for the resources we've been blessed with, human and material. I pledge my life to this race, to be whatever you need me to be on our journey to a prosperous nation. I join my faith to yours in the belief that we do this together. I join my hope to yours that you will work with me to achieve this. I wish you joy, peace, and the blessings of the Lord Almighty during these holidays. Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year to all of you. Thank you.
Live.
Thank you very much for your patience for watch the president in message, and you clearly don't hear the message, and you possibly get your own take on the message. And I believe say the message is about 27 minutes long, and what thing you gather from the message will be very important for you, and what thing you realize that the message will be very important to you, and how you analyze the message will be very important to you. But I'll bring in Femi quickly and make her get your own take on what thing I don't talk about so far and the message before I come and talk about the message in full details. So over to you, Femi.
Hi, T-Boy, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Cool. So yeah, the message. May I begin with the message first, or let we go to the
anyone.
Okay, so yeah, let's begin with the message because it's fresh. We just hear myself like you. I struggled to hear it on the day it was broadcast. I think they broadcast early in the morning, and for some strange reason I didn't get any news feed say it was on, because I'm for watcher. But you know, since I don't hear now, I want to say, you know, well done to the president for one green thing no more. We remember, although not towards the end of the message, we remember the people who really suffer from the drugs na Sierra Leone. I think say throughout the whole message that the only side and we are actually thinks it do well. The rest of the message was basically a campaign speech. We make a member say, I wonder what he go say for the New Year message. It's only a few days away. You know, we will get the same kind of speech. You know, he tried to tackle a lot of the things that will happen throughout the year, just like how Yusuf do, where you been do you monologue just now. But it felt or it feels very one-sided. You know, at one point it talks say for the one day we not don't enjoy or we not don't feel the betterment of Sierra Leone under in rain, in they empathize with them or something like that. That is 99% of the country. You know, and I don't know if he actually understands, see, 99% of the country aren't really happy or aren't really satisfied with the progress of this current administration. You know, I got a call, T-Boy, yesterday from Freetown, and the person called me specifically because they don't follow, we program them, and he thinks that we very one-sided. We blame governments for everything, and the person that sat on the phone for possibly 45 minutes discussing it, he said them where they are the gone, they know they see things them the way we they claim say them be. And I left her make it talk, and the first thing I say, yes, I agree with you. I say I agree with you, and that's part of the problem, because una with the free tongue not able for see what una entitled to. We una turn the pump, water no come, una don't take them as a norm. So it isn't an issue with una. Not to say not an issue, but una know the season an issue. When me every morning I wake, I light pump water they run. I switch on, lights they come on. They don't have that. But because they don't already accept, saying that then destiny that, they don't see it as it's a problem until the day where trouble and wahala for them. Now that's thing they understand, say, yes, we don't need to tolerate lights no day, but right now you possibly don't have something at hospital bed, something at operating theater, we need light. Where the operating theater safe no get lights. The other day, then say plane reach Lunge. The pilot's not able to land the plane because they say lights no day. You understand? If you've been sit down at that plane day at that time day, something you go understand what we they don't they tell you now for the last 3 years plus. Because it's not waiting President Bill just don't say in don't give lights from 15% of the population to 30% of the population. I really want those population that need to talk about. Because anybody when me talk to na free tongue, that's not what they're saying to me. It's a festive season. We have a lot of holiday makers, a lot of friends, a lot of family. We don't go into town where they try for them best for celebrate, even though they know say times are hard. But then they try for celebrate, because as Christians, we celebrate the birth of Christ. And as Sierra Leoneans, no matter how strong, how hard situation is, we always find time to marry, to celebrate. I remember from most small, like they sing, "Happy Christmas, me not die, yo. Tell God thank you for me life, for." Just the fact say you are alive is something to celebrate. But it should not be something our government should be proud of saying we have achieved. Because really and truly, they have not achieved. They have a mandate, as the president rightly said. They voted him in 2018 for can bring change to the people of Sierra Leone. And if he put in hand in heart, I wonder if he believe what he say just now, or what he said then this year, so now in speech. So I say for me, the speech was very long. As you be analyze how long the speech has to take. The speech was very long. It shouldn't have been that long. I heard an audio going around then this year, so of a gentleman where in 2018, I think early 2018 or late 17, he was complaining as he claimed, reckless government then, allowing the leons to be 7,500 to the dollar. He was complaining, said the reason why that's not the case, now because APC not get adequate people and for run the economy, and within 6 months, where SFP go kind of power, then go change the rate from 7,500, then go half that money there within 6 months. That was 2018 or end of 2017. Yeah, as you say yourself, in 2020, early in the year, before we get Russia and Ukraine palaver, where the one whole world they blame, we get the dollar been almost reach 19,000. So left for the blame the world economic, or should I say political issues them for the issues that would again at Salon. We own issue is unique. It's very unique to our country. Two people and the for blame. One, now the people of Sierra Leone, because they ought to know better, they ought to demand better, but we don't so use for say we left with case give God. God self don't tire. God give we hand, he give we food, he give we yai, he give we mouth, he make we self-sufficient for deal with we lifestyle. But oh yeah, we still they left with case give God. Why he give we all the ability also na in one green no? Because we not sim for the user. Second, the second billion problem apart from the populace in Sierra Leone, now the government of Sierra Leone, because they're responsible for our people. This so-called free quality education where then they papisho about, where then so proud about, then get for look. Let's ask how many of their kids are going to those schools. Then so proud about the electricity. Let ask almost of them host them almost of them picking and tap now the kind squallows that we will picking and tap. We'll able get light. You've been talking about Pambodi earlier on, but we did talk about sports. When you look at the capital city of Freetown, you must run water. Because it's nowhere where it's supposed to be. Government after government have continued to fail us. This government came into power and promised us better. But oh yeah, promise no more. Then say 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 4.5 years now we don't go so inside this government. Now then it's try for tell we say let we give the other chance another 5 years in 2023 because then go finish the job where they non start. Honestly, somebody said to me the other day, if they finish this work where they non begin, we all know the country go don't die.
I'm not fit to say some of we will die because it will be very difficult for make world and the country. But anyway, I totally agree with your review on the president's message, and possibly Santiago will come back later on as we discuss the presidency message. Like I said earlier on, the message is very long, 27 minutes or plus, and I think the message is a political plea bargain message. That's my own opinion on the message itself, because the few elements of the message itself, it gets a lot of soft nature of the president asking for mercy, pardon, understand the nature of the people. He understands the struggle. He introduces himself as a son, a brother, an uncle, a friend, but that is not what we have seen since he took over office as a son, as a brother, as a father, or an uncle, because he don't show me a different face of what he start off with to what he did try for tell we now say he be. So to me, that is a huge amount of plea bargain, being soft from the messages that he carries for this particular Christmas. He expressed a lot of frustration on the economic disaster with the war in Ukraine don't cause to we. The national struggle in terms of economic disaster. He expressed frustration of his government going through backlash of the COVID pandemic. And also he make mention of a lot of things then if he say they happen within in governments, but he talks about a lot of stuff that his government has already achieved. And I don't think that should be part of a Christmas message, because a Christmas message should be focusing just on maybe Christmas. But when you start to bring in political point scoring things, I think that is where we got it so wrong. Well, he got it so wrong. He also talks about making life better for every citizen. I don't understand how he's doing that, or what are the possibilities, or what has happened over the past 4.5 years in government that has made life better for every citizen in that country. So there is a lot of stuff where he talk in regards to the challenges the way people in the face towards Christmas. Yes, he understands, say not to everybody could be comfortable, not to everybody they spend Christmas, or not to everybody they enjoy this particular Christmas, but it is try as much as possible for mitigate some of the cost of living of Sierra Leoneans. I don't understand again how he is doing that, because if you're trying to mitigate the cost of living of Sierra Leoneans, it means the cost of living should be affordable by every Sierra Leonean family. Is that exactly what is happening in Sierra Leone for the past 4 years or 4.5 years in governance? I will not say so. But again, the people of Sierra Leone can testify to that and say, yes, the cost of living for all Sierra Leoneans is affordable. Every Sierra Leonean family can afford a meal. A decent meal, if we want to be specific. So he also make mention of they try to share and be kind. So Sierra Leoneans should share and be kind to others. I don't know what capacity he was actually talking about, how Sierra Leoneans should share enough of their basic possible livelihood that they don't even have for themselves, and how can you share that to others? And how can you be kind to others when the reality of what is happening within a stone throw of a living Sierra Leonean that can afford everything is vastly different from the distance of a Sierra Leonean that is destitute. So the reality is too gruesome for someone to be in the position to share and be kind. That we don't get a lot of dog eats dog war na salon now, we na survival of the fittest. So basically there is not much to share and there is not much love to share. Because when you share love, you'll be able to share everything else. But when you don't share love, it means nothing else can be shared. Because love is what will give you the instinct to share other things around you. But there's no such thing like love, because everybody is fighting for their survival. I think is a very hostile environment that everybody finds themselves. And again, that is going to be another challenge. And he also make mention about the people that God blessed him with, as in Sierra Leoneans. God blessed him with the people that he is leading by not taking things in their own hands to retaliate against his governments. Even though he knows his government is not performing well, he is still turning thanks to God for giving them the people that he has as Sierra Leoneans. Can you imagine that? So to me, I think now like a way he talk say, I think they do well, but he's having what in God give me nice people that they lead, you know, because even though I need to do well, but then still able for patience with me. Then still they bear with me. Then still they accept the fact, say, I am doing bad, but there is nothing that they can do about it because they are nice people. God made them to be loving and caring people, and they love and accommodative. Can you imagine that? So I will say these guys are taking us for granted because they know for sure there is nothing. Sierra Leoneans don't have that evil mindset to do things. And so that's why they're doing what they're doing, because they know for sure nothing to come out of an above case. And for the facts in above case, whoever remain for be at the same position all day. But that is what we're tired of. And if they do everything possible to cushion some of the achievements of what they don't do. Again, there is a lot of reputation in this message, and those reputations are emphasizing on some of his deliverables that he thinks he has achieved over the past 4.5 years. And when he made mention that he wants to give enough potential to the children of Sierra Leone through education, both primary, secondary, high, vocational, and other forms of education, I question that. Let me tell you why I question that. Because we're looking at the youth that is so valued, to say if any leader doesn't value the youth of his country, it means that leader is not serious about growing a new generation of politicians or scholars. And that is primarily what is happening right now, because I haven't seen any in any way, shape, or form whatsoever, I have not seen any form of industrialization in terms of development for youth, how youth can be involved in vocational studies, vocational development, a form of tertiary education that hasn't got nothing to do with mainstream education, wherein you go and learn trade. What I think has happened over the past couple of years is the implementation of attire basis. Even that one is dying out because there is not much to fund in those attire bases, or car wash. Again, we've heard about a lot of car wash being established in different communities, but we're yet to see a proper car wash, wherein you can drive your car, then go wash your motor car, then get a proper jet machine engine away, the wash car within like half an hour. So they're not even car wash facilities. So I don't even see the possibility of even saying you are engaging youth in other aspects of education apart from mainstream education, which they make mention of as in vocational education. I don't know how many trade centers they have reopened in Sierra Leone. I don't know how many wood metal workshops they don't open a salon. I don't know almost garages the way they employ young people and for learn how to do fitter work in a salon. I don't know almost carpentry workshop where they don't open at the country where they help picking them for do carpentry. I don't know almost institutions then where they already exist in a salon where they do vocational courses like apart from the private entities, I'm talking about government institutions. I don't know of any that will provide such facilities or vocational studies within Sierra Leone. So even though the president, they highlight, say, he don't invest 22% of the budget into education, we cover them particular area and we get to see that in physical. Maybe it might still be on the paper tracks, but I don't think we've seen the physical infrastructures of some of those facilities. So basically, we're still asking questions. Eti Iwan for do a speech for Christmas, so we're analyzing the speech and see how best this speech can be referred to as a Christmas message. A Christmas message, which is not possibly something that we have actually, well, we go to school now, it's what we actually talk about within speech. So if other ones say it don't boost electricity from the capacity where even they to even higher capacity. And Sierra Leoneans, them now all over the country, they boast of having constant and regular electricity. Yes, that is possible, or some people may think otherwise. I will not categorically clearly say to you it is not true, because yes, I get few information from Freetown where they say there is light, although 110%, but there is stable light. But Freetown is not Sierra Leone. That is what people fail to understand. And Freetown, they get possibly the highest amount of clued up Sierra Leoneans than where they go and visit and left the country. So if there is electricity in Freetown, doesn't mean there is electricity in Sierra Leone. I will totally disagree with that. And when we make a comparison of the percentage of increment in electricity, I think if we say we don't raise them up to 22% or more, or 40-something% reach in the country, we talk about more than almost close to half of the country, they enjoy regular electricity. And I totally will disagree with that. I will agree with some points at which electricity is being available in Freetown. And even in Freetown, it's not the entire Freetown. It's been in specific areas. Areas like maybe from Cotton Tree, I would say maybe from, not from Eastern Police, possibly within mid-eastern parts of Freetown, yes, but in other areas like Kisii, Wellington, Kalbatong, I am not sure, because my family lives around that area and I don't think then they get regular electricity, because then they get for the charge 1 in, 1 out. So basically, I can only afford to speak to them 1 in, 1 out. So if I talk to them today, I'm not going to talk to them tomorrow for the whole day until maybe in a net. that's the time possibly will have some amount of electricity to charge their phones. So not as regular as the president is highlighting it, but I think there's some amount of electricity in Freetown. But what shocked me most, now the president used a specific slogan. Again, we don't see people being influenced by people that we on social media a lot. And I think plenty of people and they disagree with some of the social media then we get. Even we, like Femi said earlier on, people are still criticizing us for saying we are one-sided in our discussions, but we yet to see what the government has done that is different from what we're talking about all the time. So we want somebody with a camp for analyze story, what's in we know for criticize, and what's in the government they do we're so good. We don't know, but meaning camp for can't tell you. But we not still get nobody, even from the government's quarters, for come and represent and tell you what's in and what's in and what's in the government don't do in terms of progress. But for lady president use a specific slogan, say, not over hype. This not drip and drip. I think that was on another level. Not over hype. Not over hypo. Paupa salongo bete. That statement I will make reference to in some other messages than where it states on in speech. But the reason we make the highlights not upon hypo, salongo bete paupa. Now just the word we say not upon hypo. And when he ready for say the word, he take in time, he pause, he smile, and then he say the word. Not upon hypo. Salongo bete paupa. The specific word not upon hypo. Now, a word being used by a specific blogger, they on social media on a regular basis. But I will come to that particular comment today, that statement that we make, and I make reference to other statements that we make now in speech. So going on, he also talk about the developmental strides where the country don't make in mining, again, a repetition of some of the industries them and ministries then where he talk about where he don't say them before and he repeats them again and he repeats them again and he repeats them again. The mining industry, he make mention say is not really in existence as in the breadbasket of Sierra Leone, but what in he don't do so far this particular 4.5 years we don't do in governance now for utilize the country's developments and make the best strides in education. But also make mention, say, the areas then where it don't improved in Sierra Leone is mining, agriculture, construction, and tourism. Okay. Agriculture was a theme in the initial start of in governance 3 years ago, but that doesn't exist anymore because since we plant the rest, then the president plant is just showing almost say it did in Kokumba farm where it harvest in Kokumba. And we know say Kokumba now like a cash crop where they plant and sell and harvest within a couple of months. They're ready to be harvested and sold and sell out to customers. But Kokumba is not. It's like a privilege to eat cucumber in Sierra Leone. Not to think where everybody they eat every day. And you eat cucumber in my food. But it provoke me back where he go to a cucumber farm. He say, yeah, it's man they say man they angry, but I'm your cucumber nine at the harvest so at the champ. But that was a provocative statement by the president to the people of Sierra Leone. Like una de gombu say una angry because no for go plant and make una feed una self. Me like cucumber me the harvest tsunami farm. So in terms of agriculture, we don't see nothing we don't come out of agriculture for the past couple of years. Yes, there are people who are involved in agriculture. We get that first wave of agricultural support, but that was the end of it. And agriculture not something where you just start number one time and you left and possible for make it continue if you not get the continued support. And we know for say we not reach that stage days where they begin for rely on the agricultural produce them for feed the nation only if it is consistent. Then maybe after 2 or 3 years or 4 years of harvesting, you might be able to say, well, you can now feed a community with your agricultural produce that we get. I did agriculture, and I will talk say myself and I've been farmer, and I will still say I am still involved in the farming industry, and I'm not free to say that is the possibility for say agriculture now one of the improved sector in Sierra Leone. Of course, construction, yes, we've seen a couple of construction sites going up, but we still wait for the Lunge Bridge, one of the first construction projects we've done here, where the president launched in the initial stage where he took over office, but we yet to see any brick being laid at Lunge, either across Tagi or Fegi Junction. We still wait for that. But yeah, there's been other construction sites going ahead, and I understand say they don't even they dig back Wilkinson Road, we already be done tar. And then they untie Wilkinson Road and for time I'm back again. So somebody called me from Freetown and said, T-boy, I don't understand what you people in the power. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He said to go in the dig Wilkinson Road back. Then say then they tie him back again. I'm like, hey, what happened? Well, nobody knows. They just retoughing the road again at Wilkinson Road. I haven't seen, well, I saw physical pictures, but it was at nighttime. So I haven't been able to verify whether those pictures are of Wilkinson Road or not. But I have a phone call from a colleague. We tell me say then they surface Wilkinson Road again, or Aberdeen Road. I think it's Wilkinson Road. They call it Wilkinson Road. So basically, when it comes to tourism, of course, this is now the most busiest tourist period in Sierra Leone, December. So basically, they attract home-based tourism, meaning Sierra Leoneans are going home, not just as Sierra Leoneans, but also as tourists. Because some of them are no longer in the country for a couple of years. Some of them, they go for the first time. Some of them are still going in, even though they know for say things are difficult, things are challenging. But home is home. They still have to go home and act like they are tourists. They have to go and do sightseeing. They go to different places. They spend their money. But I don't know how can tourism be improved in Sierra Leone if we still they struggle with flights going to Sierra Leone, if we still they struggle with flight prices going to Sierra Leone, if we still not able for upkeep the standard of the airport in terms of security apparatus, even though people are still paying $25 for security measures, meaning their goods, services, and luggages will be safe, but we don't see the amount of chaos they happen at the airports of Freetown at the moment. That's the only airport we have. And apparently then they do a new terminal, or then they revamp the terminal but then they call on the same airport. But can you imagine the amount of resources being put into redoing or rebuilding a new terminal? Not a new airport, a new terminal. I see a couple of weeks ago, we did proudly say we don't get the first escalator. That's Salon. And people they see that as achievement. Really? Salon? That's the level for like we get escalator with the same achievement. Where possibly every local building in Europe possibly have an escalator on both sides of that building. And we they boastfully proud say we don't get escalator. That's alone. So we should celebrate. Are we serious? Now, like a way the president's innovative manager, Dr. David Senge, buy the first 3D printer for presenter to the president and State House in economic creativity and innovation. I bet that has never been put into use. I want to see the first 3D device of putting the president on prints in the State House for me get that 3D printer there. Yes, maybe the escalator will be useful, but why do we need that escalator? We go take we to the higher heights, and then when we come down to the lower heights, it's basically going to be a staircase, because 90% of the time there is not going to be any form of electricity to power that escalator. So you get to end up for be a metal staircase. That is all it's going to be, a metal staircase will get for be used by Sierra Leoneans. But yet, for the sake of Francie, then go publish them for say, yes, this is an escalator. First ever in the history of Sierra Leone, and we should be proud of it. But yes, still, we live now U building. We host possibly more than 7 ministerial offices in Sierra Leone, not still the work, and we still get one. If that one break down, you get for worker from the 1st floor to the 8th floor, 9th floor. of the U building. We get all the major ministries then. And with the block for escalator, now airport, where 90% of the people of Sierra Leone cannot even access it. And even you want to Lungi, not even access that escalator there on a regular basis. We don't have regular flights that come into Sierra Leone every other day. How can we be boastful of something like that and we call it an achievement? So it's a question million take on tourism, because if tourism is going to be a lucrative industry in Sierra Leone, I think we should be considering all these aspects of tourism, pricing of the tickets, security for the baggages of passengers flying from different parts of the world, accountability of what will go wrong if their luggages are missing. Some of them were breaking into. We saw videos of people going live from Freetown, and they're even being confronted by other people who are meant to be staff of Royal Air Morocco, and they should be possibly trained how to deal with this kind of chaotic situation. And I saw a press release from the aviation department in Sierra Leone advising people then for saying luggages they will arrive at so point in time, meaning will collect an Pelican. Oh, can you imagine? If I fly, for example, let's say in Brussels, I go Freetown, me luggage not come, and then another time see me luggage not come, and then I go pick them up in a Pelican. And when I go Pelican, sometimes I meet me luggage in some kind of states, and then I ask question, why is it like this? Nobody can, that luggage is not answerable, or nobody, get for asked any question, because what is the link with the Freetown National Airport and Pelican? What is the link? Why not take the baggages to maybe the airline in office Nasalun? Because I believe so, we're going to SM process the office and they'll go collect your luggages. A couple of years ago, when we luggages they left behind, or Royal Air Morocco office, we've been there, I think, off Sheikh Stevens Kit at that time, we'll go collect your luggages there. But why would you take those luggages to Pelican? If anything goes wrong with them, who's going to be held responsible? The Pelican Authority? No, it's not their responsibility. So I don't see no reason why they should be taken to that environment. So basically, there is no form of guarantee for tourism to be a lucrative part of our industries in Sierra Leone, because we still don't get things right in that particular industry. Well, the president said he don't open hospitals and places them in the provincial town where they give there is no stick, there is what thing? I don't even for pronounce the word. But he said there is sufficient amount of beds in some of those hospitals, and there are no stick that the word of flop na me what?
Diagnostic.
Okay, I will go first with diagnose. There's diagnostic equipment, basically where they scan and tell me, the patient, what is wrong with me. In Sierra Leone, I want to see the hospital there, because I know the president is very proud of publishing or broadcasting everything that they have done in Sierra Leone. You see where they do that escalator, you see how they make know for say we don't get escalator on the salon. So imagine if we get that there's no that diagnostic machine there. If we don't see no accidents, no to play safe, no to pan joke. Now it's good, because this not leap by leap. We can't begin make it flow. But it's in so you see, but we'll not see the hospital yet. I saw an opening of a hospital, a government hospital in Bond, but I did not see the inside of the hospital. I saw pictures of the president coming out, going in, but I saw some pictures of the beds, and I did not see any equipment like electrical equipment that will back up the president's statement. Say some of the hospitals then get diagnostic equipment them for use for the patient them. I am not sure about that because I didn't see that, but I saw an opening of a new government hospital, or maybe refurbished government hospital in Bond districts, and it's called the Bond Government Hospital. But I did not see any of the other elements that the president mentioned. Say then don't open hospitals them in the provincial towns or in Sierra Leone, we equipped with diagnostic equipment and sufficient bed. Yes, sufficient bed, I saw a few of those, so I can't make much comment on that. So basically, we did talk about so many different things then. And then one of the key elements of the president's speech now, the emphasis on empowerment of women, right? The president emphasized a lot on the empowerment of women. There was a bill that was passed in parliament that gives women rights to participate in politics, and also increasing the amount of appointments, female appointments in Sierra Leone, and also the fight against gender-based violence. Gender-based violence and anything where they perpetrate against women, not in their favor. But guess what? A total reverse psychology and controversy of in first statements, we see not upon hype. Not upon hypo. Not upon hypo is one of a statement being made by one of Sierra Leone's one of the popular blogger, the winner selling called King Tommy. And King Tommy, possibly within the past couple of weeks, don't get serious interaction with women, abusing women publicly online. And sorry, King Tommy, I have to bring this in because it definitely contradicts with what's in the president they say, and it make mention of your word, not upon hype. And we all know who made that statement, not upon hype, not upon hype. It's not drip by drip, tip by drip, because you are for sure exactly what you they do. So basically, that's exactly what the president was trying to tell us. Say, not over hypo, this not over drip by drip, but it's now fact by fact. All what they say to you, so now fact, not over hype, not over hype. Now just straightforward facts, now they say to us so. So basically, that word was picked up by the president from King Tommy. And King Tommy don't get serious controversial issues then surrounding women over the past couple of weeks. Is all on social media. It's been discussed. People have criticized him. People have slandered him. People have said a lot of stuff against him. And he himself don't publicly come and apologize about anything in the way he say about certain women in his life and certain women that he was actually dissing online. That, to me, is a huge form of abuse towards women publicly. And if the president is so particular of gender-based violence and women's empowerment, I don't think you will role model yourself alongside somebody who wasn't accused but accepted his fault of abusing and actually talking about women in a degree, in a bad way, where they defame their characters in public. And some of the discussions were personal, that was not meant for public consumption. I totally think the president should not have made that statement, especially when that statement they come out primarily from King Tommy. We already don't apologize publicly for making disrespectful statements towards women in public domain. So I don't understand how the president go day against gender-based violence, how the president go day in favor of women empowerment. And I think King Tommy took a picture with him, and then everybody been they criticize King Tommy, waiting King Tommy go back publicly, and these people in back for that particular picture they will take with the president. So the president don't actually confirm the link and connection with Ian King Tommy for say yes they met and they took pictures, but definitely I use his words. Say not about hype, not about hype. These now facts by facts. Lights dinner saloon. So basically, he contradicts himself in that way. So for example, if you they talk against something where you not believe in, why you for make reference of a quotation of that particular thing. So if the president is so much concerned about not in favor of female discrimination, not in favor of gender-based violence, not in favor or in favor of women's empowerment, I think he should disassociate himself with somebody who has been apologizing publicly for actually taunting and humiliating women in public social media platforms. So I don't understand the link with Andy. Anyway, and he also make mention, say, for those who haven't felt the impact of my hard work, he feel for them and he empathize with them as well. How? Because I want to understand what sort of empathy does the president have for the average Sierra Leonean that cannot afford a daily meal for his family. I want to understand the amount of empathy or how you they feel for somebody who not able to eat, you go hungry. Now, like a way Rishi Sunak go publicly and say, no, not to Rishi Sunak, the FIFA presidents, we go say, I feel homeless, I feel gay, I feel Muslim, I feel this, I feel that. But you can never be that. So when Rishi Sunak go and serve homeless people in a restaurant, he wants to feel like he belongs to this community. He can do things like this. He wants to feel the pain of those people. You can never feel the pain of people like that because you will never be in that situation. So I don't understand how the president feels the pain, how he feels empathize for people who haven't felt the benefits of his hard work. Like Femi said earlier on, is 90% or 99% of the whole population of Sierra Leone. And if you can feel it, what are you doing about it? So as far as I'm concerned, the president said he's also subsidizing for essential commodities and reducing taxation, as in tax cuts for essential commodities in Sierra Leone, like fuel, rice, and many other commodities. We know for sure, say from the time where fuel price begin increase in Salon, you know, can do it. Now up normally they go constantly. So where is the subsidy coming from? How you they subsidize, how you they cut taxation for them commodities they also for make them become cheaper? I don't see it. So again, the reason why we bring all this come to you now for make we rationalize the essence of the Christmas message, whether was it relevant to bring in all these other elements into the Christmas message. Like if Femi say, what is the New Year message going to look like? If we don't get this for Christmas, and it's got a lot of political connotation on it in terms of achievement of the current government, then what's in the New Year message get for Talek? So in all the tax cuts for fuel, for rice, those are the major basic necessities, transportation, what else? Those are the basic Sierra Leonean commodities then we will need. Fuel, rice, and transportation. Because we've been getting some issue with internet that they don't solve because we know for sure people then go out on a rampage. But fuel price no don't go down it. It rather they increase every other day. Rice price is equally the same. It increase every other day. The rate at which the foreign currency they go is also not reducing at all. It's just they increase every other day. So come 2023, how much we go to change $1 or pounds to leons, new leons or old leons? Come 2023, how much we go to buy one bag of fuel? Come 2023, how much we go to pay for transportation for come off from one point to the next? So these are some of the issues of concern. And then the president still they ask for we patient as a nation. Ask for we patient as a nation. In what capacity? The fact that you're having challenges that you cannot resolve, the fact that you are really going through a lot of challenging circumstances based on the Ukraine war or based on COVID or based on what? I don't understand what amount of patience the president is asking of Sierra Leoneans. Why should we be patient with you? Is it because you haven't achieved what you said you're going to achieve within your first few years or few months in governance? Or is it because you have achieved enough of that, like you said, over your other speeches a couple of years ago, that you have achieved from A to Z and beyond Z of your political manifesto? Okay, do you want the nation to be patient in terms of us thinking, okay, well, look who allow another 5-year term in office? So what sort of patience do you want from Sierra Leoneans, and why should Sierra Leoneans be patient with you? Again, you got to break down that, you got to break down it down a little bit more when it comes to maybe your New Year's message. But as far as I'm concerned, Sierra Leoneans have been extremely patient with your government, and Sierra Leoneans have been extremely patient, even though you say you don't actually do a lot of stuff where not they in line with some people will not benefit it. But you say we are people of belief, people of trust, people of resilience. But how long can the people of Sierra Leone go through such? And then you still ask for patience. Okay, I don't know what the people of Sierra Leone are going to say about that, but I think they haven't had the opportunity to listen to your message. But if they do, they possibly will come back to you and tell you exactly what sort of patience they have exercised with your government over the past 4.5 years that you've been in governance. Okay. And he also make mention, say, every Sierra Leonean have the legitimate right to express themselves. And that right should not just be to vote democratically in June, on June the 24th, 2023. But also, you can be actively involved in exercising your democratic rights. Meaning, you can hold him accountable and he's going to be fully responding to anybody that is holding him accountable. So I don't know who wrote this speech, but I think the speech has a lot of concerns being brought to the public of what the president is asking people to possibly do now or accept or can take him to task with. Or he's now got to the stage wherein he's leveraging himself to the people of Sierra Leone to understand what their concerns are. But is it too late? Or is it okay? Is it acceptable? Or it isn't? Okay, so when you say that every Sierra Leonean have the legitimate rights to express their democratic rights, not just voting during election day on the 24th of June, but they can also express their democratic rights in various different ways and participate actively in politics. And you also say, notwithstanding that, you still not go allow people and for abuse the democratic rights when they get us alone. You will be firm in addressing that issue if you find anybody with the abuse then democratic right. I don't know exactly what that means as well, because you haven't break that one down for us to understand exactly what you mean. And again, you say you don't, you get, the president's highlighted the essence of the youth population in any country, and you need to engage the people, the youth population in your country, and grant them enough facilities on all aspects of development, be it entertainment, sports, science, and technology. Okay, agreed, but what have we achieved over the past 4.5 years in entertainment? If it wasn't for Christmas, for December period, I think there was no entertainment activities happening in Sierra Leone. I think the major industries in Sierra Leone have been reduced to one-sided things, wherein every artist that is having any kind of gig in Sierra Leone is either performing for government institutions or performing in line with what the First Lady wants to achieve within the entertainment industry. Apart from that, we haven't seen any entertainers in terms of show launching, album launch, artists doing their shows on a large scale. I'm not talking about side shows around the corners. No. We haven't seen any major entertainment events that will be meaningful apart from the festive season, which is possibly one thing that people might have to gear themselves up to because there is nothing more left to entertain. Everything that has to do with entertainment that we have seen so far in Sierra Leone has a direct connection to either the First Lady or ministerial events, either launch of a ministerial activity that will invite a couple of artists, few artists that are just aligned with the government to come and perform or entertain. So it's been one-sided. We haven't seen any much development within the entertainment industry. Yes, they've got artists that they have flown out of the country again on specific projects. So basically, we haven't seen independent artists who are not aligned with any political parties that have a platform to establish themselves as an artist. We've seen a decline of shows in Sierra Leone. So we haven't seen any increase in the entertainment industry. The film industry doesn't even exist. As far as I'm concerned, I am yet to see a blockbuster Sierra Leone type movie that has been launched anywhere in Sierra Leone. I don't even think cinemas even existed in Sierra Leone anymore. So I don't know how those launching will be taking place. So basically, that is on entertainment. Sports, yes, the stadium has been closed for a long period of time now. We don't know when it's going to be ready for consumption or ready for utility to be utilized by the different various sporting disciplines that we have in the country. Like I said, the renovation of the stadium would have been much better to possibly put that money towards building a new one, because yes, that stadium is significant, but it doesn't matter how we change that stadium, it doesn't matter how we renovate it, it doesn't matter how much stuff we put into it, it's still going to be Shaker Stevens Stadium. And that legacy will ever remain to be Shaker Stevens Stadium. We want legacies, we want physical legacies to be represented by every political party or political governance that is going to rule civilians. So we know that when you were in power, you did this, you did that, you did that. And I think the money being spent on renovating Shaker Stevens Stadium will have been utilized to build a new one. So at least we have two. And we can actually spend money to now possibly renovate the one that we have, which is Shaker Stevens Stadium. But I would have loved to see Julius Maada Bio Stadium before actually you either leave office or before anything else will happen to your leadership, as in President of Sierra Leone. If your term is finished, if it's going to be one term, it's sad. If it's going to be two term, we don't know. But if it's going to be anything from now on to June 2023 on the 24th, we possibly would like to see something that will carry your name. We've seen streets being named after you, but that's just a street, and it can be a local street around the corner from anywhere. And they might change that name even when if you're not in power no more. So that is not sustainable. And in terms of looking at what has been developed in sports, yes, we've had a lot of controversial issues surrounding our national team. So I will not say sport has been improved, because we still have football grounds in Sierra Leone that are hard off, brown dirty still, and we have in a Premier League. And apart from Babadi, we don't build a new stadium. I don't know what sort of improvements have been made in sports. Yes, some other disciplines have made a little bit of developmental strides going forward, but I think nationally, we haven't been able to be boastful of any development when it comes to sports. We don't have an establishment that will cater for the sporting disciplines that we have in Sierra Leone. So until we have enough of those capacities put together by either a government or a private entity, then I don't think that has been of any significance. Science, of course. I don't know much about that, but I think we've done a lot of work with people who are scientifically inclined that have worked in Sierra Leone, and I think their investigation or their reports after all the hard work that they have done within the STEMS project in Sierra Leone, I think, I will not say all, but the majority of the people who are teaching sciences or who are inclined in being lecturers and teachers in the sciences or in the science department in Sierra Leone need to go back to the drawing board, because we still have scientific equipment that possibly my father was using when he was in secondary school. We still have encyclopedias, scientific encyclopedias that possibly I was using when I was going to school in Sierra Leone. We still have laboratories, scientific laboratories that are not compared to secondary school scientific laboratories in the West. I'm talking about secondary schools. Not even, well, I'll possibly go for primary school scientific laboratories. We cannot compare any of our laboratories in Sierra Leone to a primary school laboratory, science laboratory in the West. And we're talking about scientific improvement. Is that the level of scientific improvement that we have had in Sierra Leone? Technology. Oh, that's even interesting. Maybe in terms of technology, we have seen a couple of technological inventors, as in people who are inventing electrical cars, solar kekes, and the rest. But what sort of infrastructure do we have to develop that? What sort of infrastructure do we have in place to make sure that we were able to maintain or produce even more of the very few that we have seen already? So for technology, I don't know who is in charge of technology, but if it is David Senge, sorry, we have to go back to the drawing board, because we have a huge amount of technological skilled Sierra Leoneans that are all over the UK that I know, not personally. Some I know personally, some I know by being introduced to me through somebody, through a friend or a friend. But I think we have a huge well of skilled technological Sierra Leoneans within the diaspora. And we haven't been able to tap into those resources, and we rely on David Senge when I just junior. We sometimes, because of you go Harvard, we don't even know what in a discipline we will get from Harvard, we they use for full Sierra Leoneans them all over the world. I don't understand that logic for somebody we are not feel say inclined enough for lead technology in Sierra Leone. Because the first thing we bring kind of salon, I wasn't impressed. We call the 3D printer. Since then, I'm yet to see anything that he has done. We technologically inclined. Even for put together the database of the school system in Sierra Leone is not appropriate. Because a couple of months ago, we did a program on statistics that he puts together. You know, includes certain schools and certain participants there. How you go bring somebody for can they part of a program where you're not including school, but you include them for go do research and survey in another school, but you're not including your school. So to be honest, I don't understand his kind of knowledge in technology. But anyway, for this, the president in message, and not in message, not this the president, but the message specifically where he say it don't improve a lot of areas in entertainment, sports, science, and technology, and a few more others. I just want to ask those questions and see whether any of those don't happen. Whether it's true or not, we yet to see the physical evidence. And again, foreign investment. So I'm just going towards the end of his message now. Foreign investment is mandatory. And when I say foreign investment is mandatory, it's fact. It's mandatory because international partners all over the world budget for developing countries anyway. And when they budget for developing countries, it doesn't matter who is the president, whether you're crooked, you're not crooked, you're straight, you're bent, you're twisted, you can afford it, you cannot afford, they will still fund you. regardless of your capacity or your potential or your outreach or your delivery. They will still fund you anyway because it's their obligation. It's obligatory on them. They have already signed that treaty, either from the World Bank or from the UN agencies. So it's mandatory for them to honor their financial obligations to developing countries, especially in Africa. So we are one of those countries. So basically, the international foreign investment is not pouring money into Sierra Leone because the government system that runs Sierra Leone is perfect. No, there hasn't been for the past 20 years anyway. But they will still fund us because it is their duty to fund us. What we failed to do as a nation is our duty to deliver to our people. But they will deliver their commitment from the UN, their commitment from the World Bank, their commitment for other UN agencies. That's why they call them partners. So international partners will always honor their own part of the deal. And we will also honor our own part of the deal. And to honor our part of the deal is got nothing to do with what we do with the money. It's possibly being geared towards different agenda, either strategic location for research, either strategic geographical location of where we are located in terms of security measures, in terms of cyberspace, in terms of airspace, in terms of ocean space. So basically, we are selling all those areas. That is where they are funding us. They're not funding us because they like us. They are funding us because they're using our resources. So for them, it's mandatory. And for us, it's also mandatory to give in what we're supposed to give in back in return. So whatever we do with the money is not much of their concern because the money comes back to them anyway. So they should not worry about it. So to have foreign investments being an ongoing process in Sierra Leone is not based on the fact that your government is delivering or the previous government was delivering. No, it's just a mandatory process that the international partners will follow through. And the destination of choice for sustainable investment, again, is you will not say you want investors to hold Sierra Leone as a destination of choice for sustainable development. Really? Do you think if I was a businessman, I have billions to invest, I will take that money to Sierra Leone and invest right now as we speak? No. I will think twice. I will think about security stability. I will think about economic stability. I will think about capacity of our workforce, skilled and unskilled labor. I will think about the population at which I am going to invest into. What am I going to get back in return? Am I just going to use the people to produce and then find another market to sell? So I have a lot to think about. If I am going to make Sierra Leone as a destination of sustainable investment, I will have to think twice. Because the first thing I'll look at is what I've just mentioned. Do we have the right infrastructure to have a sustainable investment that should be running in Sierra Leone? I mean, let's look at what happens when the current government took over office. Everything was raised skyrocket high. Taxation was increased because the government said they're going to make money from taxing people, businesses. Okay, fine. But how can you tax businesses when the businesses cannot recoup some of the taxation that you leave it upon them, on their customers? Because their customers cannot afford to buy some of their goods and services. So you're practically putting them out of business. So I don't understand how a sensible businessman, except a shrewd businessman that wants to make quick output of that small investment that he might have, then he will choose to go to Sierra Leone because he knows the system is crooked. There is no direct paperwork that he's going to be going through. He might not be paying the right taxation to the right government officials. He might have things being done behind the scene and he will still make money. So when the businessman wants a quick turnover of his capital, he will take it to corrupt institutions like Sierra Leone because he knows he can get away with so many things. He might possibly want to clean his drug money. He might possibly want to clean his money that he possibly must have had through some deal or money laundering, and he wants to clean it up. So he goes to Sierra Leone that has no regulation in how to investigate what is clean or dirty money. And he will just pour that money into the system and then get it clean into some kind of business that he said he's doing. He will just stay there for like a month or two, or maybe a year max, or for as long as he can utilize the system in Sierra Leone. He will be there. So Sierra Leone, for be a destination of choice for sustainable investment, that would be a big question mark. And if I come to that, I think the rest of the president's speech, I think, will now be based on your assumption of what you think it is and how you feel, say, the message go down to the people of Sierra Leone, and how you go assess the message as a Christmas message. Femi, I can bring you in quick and make you say some few things about what I don't talk about so far, whilst we round up. Over to you quickly.
Hi, T-Boy.
Yes, Femi.
Can you hear me?
Welcome back again.
All right. Yes. So I don't know how to put them. You know, you've said most of it. Bikonski gets a long way for go. You know, our governments have a long way for go. With people in need for ask for more. You know, if the current administration don't achieve, you know, most of we know the same. So let we ask for me, then can show you exactly what's in the talk about. You know, it's easy said than done. Make them show you, let we see physically say, so it be. As you say earlier on, they don't begin dig up Wilkinson Road. If they make Wilkinson Road, it's a good thing. But let's be honest, Wilkinson Road was okay. You know, we get area then at the country, we not get that basic, they not even get road where they don't grade safe. Before I say they don't can't tap. You do go spend money for go on tap Wilkinson Road and go retire where areas and the way you know don't touch. I mean, realistically speaking, I get some friends where they up Juba. Then say you go from Kabasa Lodge and Sonime. Yeah, going up, then say they don't fix that road there. You know, which is good. So it looks like they're looking after certain people. You know, they're looking after certain people, which again isn't a bad thing. But the point that it's got for make, or it's got for make earlier on, say the most of the population know they see them benefits than they. You know, yes, we might have friends and family members that within some of their road and the way they benefits, that's good. But what about the rest of the country? Where you pass up gone, they go. You know, what the area then they out then turn? Out then turn, you know, when are they going to do something about Kisi Road? We then go open up Kisi Road so that we can actually go down to the east. Because most of us, when we go, we're afraid for go past that and go then they because of the traffic.
Yeah.
Because you know, so you go stuck in traffic for how long? You know, for be good enough for talk. So you understand? So really and truly, if you want to go to Sierra Leone, you have to go outside Freetown for go really and truly see waiting Salon Talek. You know, then say now X amount of people in the Freetown no more, the numbers of Freetown don't count down, which I find very hard for believe. Because we see the numbers of people every day. And when we go upline, we they see with the cons people in a road one by one where they pass them, where they go upline, not to Salty Boy.
Yeah, correct.
But then statistics say now the people in where they now certain areas them offline, but far away past the people within the capital city. I find that very, very hard to believe. You know, then they feed with one information, but then when we look at the reality, we know they see that. You know, as I talked earlier on, but light. Don't forget light. Water not day now with capital city. Water not day, then they dig well all side. Then come the way they dig well and boreholes, and then they make money because people need water. Within a country, within a capital city, we can't afford water. With business districts, where you dey talk earlier on, around Shakasivi Street, where you say they get light, boy, no get water. You go find person in office, you use them toilet, you go shame for them. Let's be serious. Is this the Sierra Leone way they promise we in 2018? Now the salon this way we want see. You know, make them come out can't tell we. You tell we say, oh, we don't build escalator. But Stiboy clearly states say, well, lights on the escalator, they go to a metal staircase. With the glad about an escalator now, the one escalator in Africa, Tiboy, shame on you, they can't compare to the basic countries in Europe. I don't travel across Africa. I don't see escalator. I don't see escalator. Small shopping center, they all get escalator.
Sure.
But now salon, they can make that a big deal. It just show how we don't accept with destiny, which is wrong. We shouldn't be in this place. As somebody said that we showed last week, we don't get airports or we don't begin fly plane that we country before some of them country also who they look up to now even begin dream for fly plane. One of we call it the last week. You know, for the fact say 50 years down the line, 60 years down the line, we're nowhere better than we were back then. It's ridiculous. You know, if every administration one thing then do, if the next administration we can say, okay, me before I left here, so I did make sure say water they run at this country, and he put all the energy into that day, we go always bless them. We go always bless the administration day. Then the next administration then come, then tackle lights. Then the next one we come, then tackle education. Then the next one we come, then tackle healthcare. Inside 56 years, we for don't day na area where we go proud of we country. You know, COVID come, all the money then the way they spend. You know, most of we people there, where they're sick, they're not able to travel go out. You know, that was a perfect opportunity for make government look and fix with healthcare. Because then self not be able for travel. But outside the true talk day, where they want travel, then when at them lift the ban. That's how ridiculous this thing be, you see? So me and you who want travel, we can't. We can't go for medical non-sci. Because we were banned from traveling. But when they want travel, they ensure say they lift the ban where them get and then travel. Where they say free education, then picking another go na then school and then picking all the go school abroad. And guess what's happening in 20 years time? Then same picking and they turn back can as alone now, can rule back. So you see, not to democracy we get. Now monarchy now with the bill so small. Because the riches will always go around that 1% of people them will get political alignment. Most of the other and the way they holler, where they kill, where they fight for SLPP and APC, they're not benefiting. Then they struggle day in, day out, no matter whose party come. Elect if not the same village you come out with Mother Bio. You tell me now, challenge. So una we been in at the same village with a way it been young. Is your lives any better? In the last 4 years, una life they don't change. Usa true day for talk. You know, let's be honest. Somebody like an Alpha Khan, you know, this is what upsets most of us. Where we think, say, them people are so then they take this to make like them property. Where APC not agree with Alpha Khan, he grab because he wants to be in a position of power and for get money, it cause carpets go to the opposition. That's what it is. Then they recycle themselves for keep themselves relevant, keep themselves around the money, and you, the people of Sierra Leone, have nothing to say about it. Honestly, 2022 has been a hard year. We've seen a lot of friends then would have lost. You know, we don't see good accidents then. We're not supposed to be. Elephant and Castle roundabout. For years, then the complaints say that place say na hazard to people with the ride bicycle and motorbike. When you go Elephant and Castle now compared to if you go there 10 years ago, it's a vast different place. Then also change the thing that now it's almost impossible for me to get in car accidents in the again. But we get that roundabout by Lumley police station. Almost we they see motorcar then they come up spot where they can crash now that white house where the opposite yonder. Almost accidents will don't be that became in that bakery shop. Don't die. One in particular, because she was well known, everybody in the world heard about it. But how many other accidents have we had? Say then I don't do nothing but that place to me, man. So if they go fix Wilkins, if they go fix that area, they say a better. But no, they're not going to fix them. The problem, not just the good get the problem, our cars aren't fit for the roads. We get lorry them. When you see them go right behind and say, now by God in power. Because that's what exactly it is. Now God no more know they makes more accidents than they be.
True.
You know, the brakes not there, brake lights not there, the motor car link, the one side don't bust. Once police station and they pass, no policeman they do there nothing. But here the policeman he go to run at that Okada man with something in your motorbike far more roadworthy than some of the motor car they pass. Let's be serious. Let's be serious. Let's look let's count almost death that we don't see on Salon Road them. Up to today, I saw a video of one motor with Tonobo, one lorry with Tonobo, then they put wood inside, where they say person the under in the sky for go fend the person. But the way I see the wood pack is somebody the under, there's no way that person is there alive. We they see accident upon accident and nobody really cares. This speech they tell we say you care, you understand, you they see, but you're not doing nothing about it. You're not doing nothing about it. The FFTR, so if you fix the FFTR, so we're not going to complain. People then they go hospital. There's a Chinese hospital where they go lock na Kisi Road, I think.
Sorry.
Then go lock and they because they say the place not get license, enough fit for be hospital. Let's be honest, if that place not fit for be hospital, then all of the hospital and our free tongue in particular not fit for be hospital. Let's call a spade a spade. The reason why people in the go yonder that because they've lost confidence in the hospital them where we governments they provide. Let me then go to that Chinese man. Because then you go find alternative. Salon, you get money safe. Your money can't buy you everything. Before I say 99 of the people that will not get that money there. Now let's call a spade a spade. 2022 has been a disaster of a year. It followed 2021, it followed 2020, it followed 2019, it followed 2018. Every single year where them guys are in charge, they have just not done anything. But yes, they want me to glad for them. But I say, you know, the sad thing, T-Boy, is when 2023 come, we vote these people out, we vote the next man in. If we as a people don't change as well, we will be voting the same thing. We teach we picking the alphabet if man them, alphabet like man them from where they all 5 and 6. Whether landlord come for money, they tell and say, mommy no dey. Tell and say daddy no dey. What should we think say go happen with that person they turn 25, 26? Instead go they dodge the same way. We don't face the facts. We talked last week about Sierra Leone Airways. We not pay with death sentence today. We feel to say because 20 years don't pass, 30 years don't pass, with man and go forget about that death today. But they don't forget to. So today then they ask you say, I want to not plane them for flyback. I can't pay with that money day. I bet you say interest don't go and tap that money day now. So if we don't decide that we're gonna pay for that, that's so we go left. You know, we get business partners as you see. You know, how hard can it be for tell one power business partner then say, we allow you for can do your business in our country. We open up, we even the wave tax system, but we want make una do this. We want make una do this. Why can't we do that? Why can't we implement that? We get such low population. That is our biggest asset. 7 million people. Not to add standard for provide for. If only our government then get the heart, Sierra Leone could easily be fixed. I'm not saying overnight, but as I say, one step at a time. If we say, inside my first year, I did do this, inside my second year, I did do this, by the time 4 year, 5 year don't pass, I don't go far away. Then if they vote for me because they're glad with what I do, then vote for me back, I get another 5 year for hardly little bit span up. Then where I don't come out now, if they vote for we government still or we administration still, my successor go come, instead go can deliver usai I left. If they not vote for we, then vote for the opposition, then say go can carry on usai I left. But all time we'll get new government, we'll get new president, we dey go start zero. Why? Why Sierra Leone dey at this position? But yet most of we happy, we content, it affects we, so we're smiling, we go salon now, we post all the picture that we say salon suite, this and that and this. The reality is we don't accept defeat. And that for me is the saddest fact. I hope say in 2023 we make the right moves and we vote the right person where we think say go make a difference. And if that person is Madabio, or should I say President Madabio, then let's vote him in. Let's vote him in. If we believe truly inside we had say he don't do in work and he'll make a difference for the next 5 years, let's vote him in. But if we believe say he not don't try, he not don't deliver on his promises them, we don't see we country don't go beyond rather than go before, let we vote him out, let we vote for the opposition. On that note today, I want to say Happy New Year in advance to una all. We glad the way 2022 done because for some of we, yes, we might have had good points, but some of we are bad points. But as a country as a whole, for Sierra Leone as a whole, 2022 has not been a good year. So we glad the way Papa God don't make we don't see the end of 2022. We pray say the last few days in 2022, He gave you the life, strength, and health for seeing through, and we pray say 2023 will be a better year where we go see Sierra Leone truly moving forward.
Thank you very much, Femi, for your contribution and your final statement for today's program. And I want to say thank you to everybody as well. Well, Femi don't say it all. I think I've also said everything that I was supposed to be talking about for today's program. And I feel say we don't possibly talk enough on the presidency message. But can you imagine whether I would be able to spend 2.5 hours analyzing the Christmas message of former President Obama, former President Donald Trump, and current President Joe Biden? No, I wouldn't. I definitely will not spend even half an hour to analyze it because the message itself was 2.5 minutes. How would I spend half an hour to analyze a message that is 2.5 minutes? So basically, I will not have enough talking points for me to analyze a message like that. But if we spend hours and hours for talk about the president's message, it means we have to analyze it and we have to talk about all the things maybe he mentioned. I don't even talk about all. I just highlight most of the ones that were fit to say significant. Yes, the others were also significant, but we know we'll get time for come and talk about the whole speech itself. But I think it's just a food for thought for make we realize the essence of a specific message for the country should be specifically geared to the event itself. I don't think we should bring in all elements of political discussions, political gains, or political benefits on that particular message. Yeah, you can have maybe highlight 1 or 2 issues, but not spend the entire message on political grounds. It looks like a plea bargain message for Sierra Leoneans to sympathize with him. That's why he's talking to us like he's our brother, like he's one of our sons, like he's uncle or he's a friend. But that hasn't been exercised throughout his reign in office, about 4.5 years now. Now all of a sudden, you want for make Sierra Leonean be patient, and you want for meeting you time for those that haven't seen the benefit of his hard work. And it's very much complicated at the moment in time because we don't know exactly what are some of the requests them really make and why they make such requests, why they ask or talk in such manner, why you are kind of homely. All of a sudden, we have a president that is now friendly, accepting the fact that democratically we should exercise our rights, accepting the fact that we should have, we should hold him to task, accepting the fact that he wants us to be patient, accepting the fact that God gave him the right set of people that he's governed, and we should be afraid not to go back into the dark ages of the war because nobody wants that. Yes, that is so true. And there are lots of requests that he made throughout the speech, but you have to possibly listen to the speech to be able to analyze it. So if you haven't been able to listen to the speech, please take your time and listen to it because no not just can't put word now you is for make you but listen to them for yourself and make your own rational decision on what you think about the speech. But like Femi say, we want for wish all we viewers them happy new year in advance. And we know say 2022 has been a challenging year for Sierra Leone as a nation. 2022 has been a year of a lot of disappointing things that don't happen, disaster don't happen, natural disaster, man-made disaster, political unrest, economical disaster, and a lot has happened to the country. And I feel say going into 2023, we do hope for the best. We want to see a better Sierra Leone. If a better Sierra Leone is going to happen after June 24, 2023, we are happy to see that better Sierra Leone. If we are still going to be continuing with the Sierra Leone we don't see for the past 4.5 years, I think we will think about it. Some of us will think about it. And when I say some of us will think about it, we will rationally think about our decisions going forward if we're still going to be having this current government in office. Like Femi say, we should be able to have a leader that is going to rule and govern the people in a way that the people are happy. The cost of living should be not perfectly fine, but acceptable by the people of Sierra Leone. We should have a state of economy that is suitable for businesses to thrive. We should have a state of economy that will encourage investors to come and invest into Sierra Leone. As in home-based investors, people who are of Sierra Leonean heritage should be able to come back and invest. People from the diaspora, people who have money that lives in Sierra Leone, you should be able to come back and invest constructively, not to embezzle, not to abuse the system, just to invest in such a way that, yes, you make profits, but not to super maximize the profit that you're making that will lead to the detriment or the detriment of the normal citizens that are living in Sierra Leone. So I will say thank you to all our viewers. We don't follow you for the past couple of months. We kind of to the end of 2022, only a couple of days to go. I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to all. And I feel say it would have been nice to have Juma here today on board to also express his own concern and say his best wishes to all of our viewers that have been following us from the beginning and we don't count out to the end of 2022. But Juma is not here, but I think we'll possibly have him within the first show. We will be next week, the first show for 2023. Maybe we might have a show on New Year's Eve that we might just pop out of nowhere to tell you possibly what we will be doing on that day in terms of broadcasting. But I want to say thank you once more to all we contributors in our YouTube and all we contributors in our Facebook and all we followers then we don't do it we throughout this year. And also the one that we don't do it we for the past couple of years since we start doing live broadcasts. And encourage your friends, family, colleagues for subscribe to the YouTube page and also continue for like the page and share the programs then so that we'll be able to spread the message out to almost all Sierra Leoneans then we live in the diaspora and in Sierra Leone. Like we say, without you guys, we'll not be able to have a program. Femi say, Now they make we talk boku talk. And I thought a one-man show today is going to be disastrous. But guess what? I pulled it off. And yeah, kudos to me. But anyway, maybe don't praise me again, it's me, I'm all like boku talk. But I don't believe now so you know to me like boku talk and Najuma. See, if you mean then I just imagine almost 1,000 for don't do. For don't there so say what time is it now? For don't there so say 3-4 o'clock. But anyway, enough of me talking about everything that we've done so far over the past couple of years and within 2022. Without you guys, it wouldn't have been possible for us to have a program that is coming to you every Thursday. But look out for 2023 because a lot is yet to happen on the Sierra Leone media platform. We try to make a lot of changes in everything we do, from receive tune to the programs, to most of the graphics and most of the media work they will do. And we make sure say we're good at the best of what Sierra Leone media is good at. Live broadcasts in style, argumentative, dictating, not that I will really dictate, but discussing issues that are very much important to us. And for sure, we will try to see how best we be able to begin interact again with the audience, because we've left you guys out for some time now because they look at the timeline of what they do and how they get interaction. But I believe say by next year we will plan a lot more forget audience interactions with you guys like we used to do a couple of months back or a couple of years back. But stay blessed and stay tuned. Continue for watch the program then. I want to say thank you once more. Join us early next year. Possibly join us New Year's Eve for Meetup 2023. But if you can't, please send us your New Year's messages on our Facebook page. We'll be able to respond to you guys, and on our YouTube page as well. So until next week, Merry Christmas, Dumpers, and a Happy New Year 2023. On behalf of myself and the Sierra Leone media team, I would like to say Happy New Year in advance. Bye-bye.
I'm so proud I'm a Regentonian. Thank you, Lord, I'm a Regentonian. Regentonian. Regentonian to descent. We talk them all the sense. We humble, we cool, we stand for the truth, and I so we intelligent. If you know let now you business. Yeah, we the best and now we blessed. Why we the best, there are reasons. Show respect, we are legends. Young khaki white shirt, school is the nicest. Any exam we take, men and like we when we walk on the streets, all the guys in the like we. Man afraid we, just like a light moon, never back down cause we're strong and mighty. Yo, see us split, no, that's a nightmare. All the guys that love us never try to judge us, line they never bought us cause it's Martin God just
about to blow, we about to show. Anytime we come around, they know. Now who that than this, who that than so. We they come and take over our show. SLGS, you ain't no know. When I for know what we come up to flow. Making us say, you know be no. Cause I did this one we about to blow. This is all I need, this is all I need. Where I wanna be, where I wanna be. Boy, my boys in it. We're a family, we're a family, we're a family, we're a family. Never nominee, yeah, we tagging, flag overseas.
I'm so proud I'm a Regentonian. Thank you, Lord, I'm a Regentonian. Regentonian. Regentonian to descent. We talk them all the sense. We humble, we cool, we stand for the truth, and I so we intelligent. If you know let now you business. Yeah, we the best and now we blessed. Why we the best, there are reasons. Show respect, we are legends. Young khaki white shirt, school is the nicest. Any exam we take, men and like we when we walk on the streets, all the guys in the like we. Man afraid we, just like a light moon, never back down cause we're strong and mighty. Yo, see us split, no, that's a nightmare. All the guys that love us never try to judge us, line they never bought us cause it's Martin God just
we about to blow, we about to show. Anytime we come around, they know. Now who that than this, who that than so. We they come and take over our show. SLGS, you ain't no know. When I for know what we come up to flow. Making us say, you know be no. Cause I did this one we about to blow. This is all I need, this is all I need. Where I wanna be, where I wanna be. Boy, my boys in it. We're a family, we're a family, we're a family, we're a family. Never nominee, yeah, we tagging, flag overseas.
A fresh face, fresh start. The people that Sabiam. And now young man, we believe say, all comrades for Rob votes and benefits. benefit by APC business because APC na for we all. Mr. Abdul Karim Kaloko, where people can call Carlos, he dey go for the APC national chairman, and he say he go make sure say the APC flag bearer be the next president in 2023. For men babu na by sababu, for dance bubu na by kabulu.
APC for mintae chache o. 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 Yeah, supabo, aya, lego.
Ngonga na nyo, chenja ngunga ibai, eninga twala wongo. Inkolo ngelonga kanga nunu, milabu, enkolo Hollanda, APC bonga. Mwankongo kala APC, alana mihanga, Mr. Abdul Karim Kaloko, ningata wimbala, Carlos. Alelonga kupona hanga, APC national chairman. Okiakela, nuna alo APC hanga, tawimba flag biara, election diaba, apena ha winning gobo fosa. Ami APC supporter, election diaba kehin. Kona kela ngolo Honda peleun, benge. Bubu bia, mehepe biange yo.
Supabo, supabo, aya, lego.
Owe derdufu kutipikufu afmantaroko owaturu ni owela nekpai ankombribe ayetukufof kama munafa kurkan APC business APC tata sube Mr. Abdul Karim Kaloko afmantila Carlos otitima ta APC national chairman opaye otininkepa APC flag bearer oyo next president ka 2023 karusum ko to tasa sababu kereka tomo ombubu tasa kabubu
supabo aya, lego.
Yeso labango, yeso hentingo, funo fala, jama ngari. Sagata andudo el komri, ko ujete e hunduko ko anda e APC business. Pionu APC ko fimeng info, kono wadi omo benat Abdul Karim Kaloko, ko wadi benodrimo Carlos, imoyande APC national power map beon. Ibe holy 2020, 2023, baito munyike. Ola moto, kone ata demu, ko sabu, ko amata bubu, ko kabudu.
Supabo, aya, lego.
Gama ni ninda ponya di mukbe mugi golo to da poyo ngi gome angela gola nukpele alaja lo APC ndi ya ma e beneficium beva se APC imukbe lova Mr. Abdul Karim Kaloko na ninga tato akalos e ma ilo APC national samaiva so ye I make sure lo numuna tulo kulu magma APC tato flabia ye e o tagbima mu mulu ejiba 2023 golo makele sababu mia kebu lu egale baka kabudu lo
My country, baby. It's a long, it's a long. Now we go with this. Cloud Tamo. Africa Deep
Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it went, Usa we go. Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it well, Usa we go. Everybody me say well done. If we all this country so strong. Everybody me say stand up. If you like salon, say yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then say yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then say yeah. So good in the morning. The land is just gloomy. The moon is going. The cloud is forming. The cocks are crowing. Dew is falling. The bags are coming. Everybody running. Inside Switzerland today. The land is yummy. See the mommy, they cooking fufu. The party smoking cigarettes. Rajo, they watch baby Musu. We they find out the countries. Right in West Africa. On the Atlantic Ocean. Inside this land. So much I can boast of.
Look at the good plantation. From the beach, I get meditation. Make me not wear this nation. I get L-O-V-E for me is alone. Yeah, for me is alone. Love is alone, sweet alone. What a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it were, Insai we go. Sweet alone. What a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it were, Insai we go. Everybody me say well done. If we all this country so strong. Everybody me say stand up. If you like salon, say yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then say yeah. Then say yeah.
I know a L-O-V-E, Sierra Leone. Was a L-O place where sweet like gold. We got diamond box, I silver and gold. So that we make time for the young and old. I mean for let we serve, help we serve. I see you come from the bars, you want for put chest. Peace, love and unity, now for put first. For the jealousy and watch, that don't make sense. Togetherness is one, but wait for we success. So get up and go walk, I sit down for the top. I criticize the government just for mix up. But stack on the pill, so we need for put stop. Life for hustle for you all, no matter how you struggle the bone. This life without pain, not easy, not in the zone. Just forget to live in all myself, can go slow. We like to say I go, I never forget about this home.
Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it were, Insai we go. Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone. Cause if it were, Insai we go. Everybody me say well done. If we all this country so strong. Everybody me say stand up. If you like salon, say yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then say yeah. Say, sweet alone how we own. Each and every one God take care of his own. We all remember say, this country now we own. Each and every one will take care of us alone. I will exalt thee, realm of the free. Great is the love where I get for so long. I got in a trunk of one for maintenance my land. No matter the situation, I get love for so long. I got in up every day, no day, pamphlet, place in a picking go school, make it go land the boo. I don't owe me all like farmer, put the country part up for any attack, me the way me boo. I got in up every day, no day, pamphlet, place in a picking go school, make it go land the boo. I don't owe me all like farmer, put the country part up for any attack, me the way me boo. Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone, cause if it were, Insai we go. Sweet alone, what a beautiful love. We fall like unto the bone, cause if it were, Insai we go. Everybody me say well done. If we all this country so strong. Everybody me say stand up. If you like salon, say yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then say yeah.
Famous. No, yeah, yeah, yeah. See, where are the sing so good? Now me know how to feel. Where are the sing so? Now me know how to feel. Ain't God, you just see them the millet. Why she comping just a better? You see them no more than millet. Why so the man to return for? How you gonna live this life just for the fella, not a person down? How you go live this life just for the fella you brought them in down? Ain't God, yeah, lily, lily, yeah, yeah, lily, lily, see, yeah, lily. God, this thinking make I wonder why me no for carry gold. Hey God, this thinking make I wonder why me no go get AI. This thinking make I wonder why me no go get share. And God, this thinking make I wonder why me when you know say some man them get seven, them get sour right around them ways. Oh God, some man them get smelly, them get tutu where you no go know famous. I don't know who I have forgot. Now this wall we're full of wickedness. Yes. I don't look left and I don't look right, but grandma can tell me say some problem can there. Now for look under your foot, look under your foot, look under your foot, mama look under your foot. Now for look under your foot, look under your foot, yeah. Look under your foot, mama look under your foot. Oh God, this thinking make I wonder why me no for carry gold. Hey God, this thinking make I wonder why me no go get AI. This thinking make I wonder why me no go get share. And God, this thinking make I wonder why me when you know say some man them get similar, them get juju right here on their waist. Oh God, some man them get tight, them get similar where you no go know. Hey, famous.